quite a number. So what have you done with your photos?
I've saved them for now. I'm waiting to edit them and then I'll put them in the gram later.
This one is a serious one. She's waiting to edit. Okay, take lessons. Anyone else who has taken? Lady in blue. I love colors, so I'll see all the colors.
Wow, I don't want to copy what Sandra said about applying filters and editing. For me, first I've sent on my LinkedIn page.
Okay.
Yeah, just to call on the people to be able to follow and log in to this event.
All right. Thank you. Lady in yellow, you are taking photos for other people. So I don't know whether you took yours or what did you do?
Yes, I took mine too. Yes, and I'm waiting also to share them on my social media platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think mi niko na kimbele mbele. I never wait. Madam, very nice kitenge. Tell us.
Thank you. I'm thinking of the message that should follow the photos.
Nice. Communication. Wonderful. On this end, did you take photos? Ini generation ile ingine. That other one. Why didn't you take this opportunity? But we allow you to settle in. But make sure you take photos. It's very important. Karibu sana. Did you take photos? She has. What have you done with your photos?
So friends, family, and a post on LinkedIn.
All right.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So I want us to take advantage of the power of social media, very critical, especially because of why we are here today. This book needs to go out. People need to know what we are doing today. So how many are on Twitter? Twitter. We will know by the generations. The Twitters, we have seen you. The LinkedIns, we have seen you. Facebookers. What have I left? Insta, IG. Threads. Okay, we are there. Then there is, which other one? Iya majenzi ni gani? TikTok. Are we, who is on, oh, thank you. You're on TikTok. I think I am growing older. Snapchat. I don't know, I hear it. I have no clue how it works. But I really want us to, if you haven't taken a photo yet, I want you to grab your phone. I don't know whether you have access to the Wi-Fi, let me know. But it's Weston 123, if I'm not wrong. Sasa wale wako na iPhone na iPhone, we pray that the iPhones will have a good with quality. Use the internet, try internet. I think I logged in through the one written Weston internet or guest. Password was Weston 123. Yes. No wonder you have not posted. Wi-Fi iko free. Yes. When you're in, say bingo. All right, one bingo. All right, wale wako kwa Katululu, don't worry. We will tag you when you get there, you will see yourself already. So if you haven't taken a photo, take a selfie. If you already have a photo and you haven't edited, just pick the bestest. I know there must be one best one. I want you to go in, we begin with LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn, get to LinkedIn. First assignment, when you get to LinkedIn, search for Zion Pearl Publishers. I am very fast. Oh, you're still on the internet, Weston 123 password. Those who are ahead, please get into LinkedIn, get to Zion Pearl Publishers. There is a post that they have already done concerning this particular day. Share it fast. Assignment number 1, reshare. Assignment number 2, you will now post your photo. You will tag Zion Pearl Publishers. You will hashtag, use the following hashtags. I have noted that when I use the hashtag SheLeads, there are quite a number of SheLeads. So we will have a hashtag, where? Is there T? We will use the hashtag SheLeads, but then we will also use another one, SheLeads book launch, so that the book launch part can begin to gain momentum. You can use another hashtag, inclusive leadership. You can use another hashtag, women leaders. I think it's a cool one. And then you can also use another one, women in leadership, because I know that hashtag has been alive for quite some time. Then put a caption, of course, because it is LinkedIn, it's a serious platform, it's for professionals. So put in your caption, where are you at? What is going down? What is your expectation? Ask them to buy this book. It has interesting highlights on the journey of leadership. So, have you done that? If you know any of us here and they're part of your network, please tag them. Important, if you have networks, organizations, institutions that are really key on women in leadership, issues around gender, please tag them along. So that's for LinkedIn. Those on Twitter, please do the same. Make sure you take a selfie. At some point, you'll be taking a selfie with your neighbor, and we will be doing the same thing. So taking the opportunity to leverage on the power of social media for the good reasons. Done? Ama tunakuja? Asante. As we continue to hear the soft music from the back seat, tutashukuru sana. I repeat, which one? Hashtag SheLeads. Hashtag SheLeads book launch. Hashtag women in leadership. Hashtag women leaders. Hashtag inclusive leadership. And make sure you tag Zion Pearl Publishers. You can be innovative to innovate. Some hashtags that are in line with your background and what you do, probably it will be one that will also attract some of your networks. And you look beautiful from this and from here. Thank you for showing up. And also, I'd also want to take this opportunity to apologize on behalf of us who are not yet here. But at least we understand what day it is, and probably people may be held up somewhere, but we thank God that we are already here and we are safe and sound, so we can only pray for those who are on their way coming, that they'll also arrive safely and we can proceed with the agenda of the day. When you're done, please say bingo so that we can kick this off. Let me know if you're stuck. Those on Facebook, you can tag also Zion Pearl Publishers, although there's no post, so at that point you'll be riding on your post. Make it interesting, make the caption captivating. I know Helen will tag 50 others. Please tag them all. You can post on your groups and pages that are relevant to this particular occasion. So the advantages and disadvantages of social media is that we will be driving our agenda, and as we do so, there will be others who will be flipping through now the other pages and, checking what's happening. But I know that we will not be doing that, so that we are able to proceed with our agenda for the day, and also finish up on time so that we are able to get to our destinations also early and safer. So allow me to proceed even as we continue. There is the power of multitasking that we are usually very good at where phones are concerned, and therefore I believe we are good to go. Allow me to make a very short prayer as we open the meeting. Zion Pearl Publishers, ZION. So let's bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening. We want to thank you for your goodness, for your love and your mercies. We want to thank you for journey mercies for those who traveled to this place. We want to thank you for those who came in during the day, my Father, that you kept them safe and they arrived safe. We thank you. We pray for those who are on their way, my Lord, that you may continue to lead their steps, guard and protect them even as they head here, my Father. We commit the agenda of the day before you, my Father. We pray, Jehovah, that we shall achieve our agenda and our objectives and the goal for the day in the name of Jesus. And we commit this function before you, my God, that you may take lead, my Father. We give you glory, we give you honor. In Jesus' name we have prayed and believed. Well, again, thank you so much for showing up. Despite the challenge in terms of peace in the nation, but here you are, so we don't take it for granted. On behalf of Zion Pearl Publishers, we are grateful. On behalf of the authors of this wonderful book, we are grateful that you're able to make it. It's a very interesting function today, because I believe in the power of storytelling, and it is said, I don't know whether there is any justification or evidence, but it is said that we are not known, particularly as Africans, because we do not document, and when we document, probably we don't read it. So I believe that this is a very noble idea to get our stories documented, to get our voices amplified through books. So kudos to everyone who took their time to really share their stories. It is not taken for granted, and I believe that it shall impact quite a number of lives and also encourage quite a number of women out there that they are capable and they are able to. And at this point, I would like to bring our very own Radido Doso to really tell us, give us the story behind SheLeads, so that we understand where we are coming from. All right. While Radido is coming up to speak to us about SheLeads, he will also let us know, other than Amazon, which other bookstores we can get the book from. So thank you for your questions. Your hurry up. Thank you for that. Karibu sana, sir.
Hello, 1, 2. Good evening, everybody. So good to see you here. You all look wonderful from this side. I'm happy to have all of you here. At some point, we thought this day was not going to happen like this, but something kept nudging and saying, come on, let's keep going. Because that is how life looks like. Sometimes you thrive in the midst of challenges and what looks like opposition. And you have to keep pushing and pushing. So I'm happy that you risked your lives, your security to come all the way. This is such a huge statement. I was just standing behind there and wondering, what if we decided to cancel it? What would have happened to these people, because they were ready to come? So I really am very grateful. Thank you for that courage, because this is how she leads. She leads with courage. She forges ahead even when it looks smoky and looks like there are obstacles on the way. She keeps going. And when she arrives, she brings a color and nice texture and make it look like there wasn't any opposition on the way. By the way, you look like there was no opposition on the way. You look like you're not scared in the morning. Yesterday evening, before I went to bed, I was talking to God and asking God to help me know how this day will unfold. Then I woke up in the morning and it was drizzling. Where I stay, it was actually raining in the morning. So I asked God, is this the way you're going to make this meeting happen? It rains, of course they can't go to the streets, so we will just have our way, you know? So I felt happy that the rains were happening, because that way it would allow us to move. So your being here this day makes the promise that we made to each other a reality, and it makes me very, very happy. My name is Doso Radido. I am the Operations and Strategy Director at Zion Pal Publishers, and one of the brains behind the work that you are seeing here. The real brains are inside there. Those of you who've grabbed copies and have flipped through the pages, you can see how powerful and how beautiful those stories are, and the lessons that are being shared by the women leaders, and that's so good. I'm going to take us through the background. What is it that led to all this, and what are we up to? And then I will share with us what is going to happen next, including mentioning where we can find the books and the conversations that are going to happen after this. So this project was inspired by a post that somebody did some time back on Facebook. This somebody is called Dr. Esther Dindi. I don't know you people if you know Dr. Esther Dindi. She's so big on health and fitness for women. Together with her husband, they run a Facebook page called Thriving Couples. It has one of the biggest followings in this country, and they are doing an amazing job. Esther does not know that I'm talking about her now. She does not even have an idea that whatever she posted that day inspired this work. And when she gets to know this, I know she'll be so surprised. So Esther, because of her enthusiasm in issues of health and fitness, one day took a nice photo of herself. I think she was walking by the beach, and she just wrote, "She moves." So that post is just like that. And so I kept thinking about what is Esther really talking about. Of course, I knew what she talks about because she's into women empowerment, especially fitness for women, and of course, thriving couples. So every time she talks, she's either talking about health and fitness, or she's talking about the fact that marriages work. So when she posted that, I looked at that post many times, including up to yesterday. I was looking at the post because I took a screenshot. So I kept looking at that and getting inspired. So I was asking myself, what was going on in the mind of this lady? What is she trying to tell women? A bit of what I got from that was that she's challenging women to take charge of their lives and to not play victims, and face life and make things work, because she has she's a positive attitude lady. She believes that things can work and things are meant to work, but she also believes in working. So she's not just theoretical, she does it practically, and she shows that by how she carries herself and how she dispenses herself around the assignments that she's been given. So that was the beginning of the inspiration of this. So I started asking, who else is hearing the voice of Esther? Who are those other women out there who are moving things? And you see, when you get into moving things, you're actually a leader. Whether you're pushing them from behind or from the front side or from the side, leadership happens from any angle. So that the notion that you have to be at the top to be a leader is not entirely true. You can lead. At home, you can lead. You can lead as an assistant of somebody. You can lead as the boss. You can lead as somebody who probably does not have a big name. You can just lead. Sometimes you lead people by your thoughts. Sometimes you lead them by your attitude. Sometimes you lead them by your energy. Sometimes you lead them by your support. Sometimes you lead them just by being a good example, and people are picking cues from what you're doing, and you're leading because this is how she leads. So when she posted that, I asked many questions around that, and the biggest question I was asking myself is, who is hearing the voice of Esther? And who are those women leaders who are getting awakened to begin to do what Esther is talking about? So because of that, as a publisher, of course, I started asking, is there a way we can make women lead? Is there a way we can make them lead? And not just by giving them positions, but by using their lessons, their experiences, their insights, and their wisdom to impact the world and to cause things to move in the direction that will make all of us proud and happy. And therefore, the book was inspired. The other thing that, of course, came to mind when we were thinking about this is that the question of who knows that there are exceptional women leaders in our midst, because there are so many exceptional women that are doing a lot of good stuff in our midst, but nobody's talking about them. And you see, if you go back to where you came from in your home, there is this person we all call mother. That is a leader. All of us have been shaped and molded by those people. They may not have taken the title leader, but you know they were leading you. Some of them have led you to the courses that you did and the professions that you are doing and the lifestyles that you're doing. If somebody asks you a question about your life, you probably would be talking about something that was influenced into your life by your mother. So those are leaders. So when I go home, I don't just call her mom, I call her leader, because she is a leader. And she continues to lead even when she's not here, because when she inspired and molded me in the way that I should go, and now I am going by her molding, so she continues to lead me even now. So that even at that level, we have leadership happening. We have leadership happening in the community. We have leadership happening around us in our workplaces, within our networks, and all that is beautiful stuff, but nobody's talking about that. And so we began to put together a project that would allow all these voices to be heard, and importantly, allow all these people to be showcased, because we have to showcase our own for the world to know it. Imagine if we didn't write this book, all these people you're meeting here, you wouldn't have met them, and probably there was not going to be anything that would bring you together or cause you to cross paths. Imagine the wisdom they have, they would have died with it. And one of the things that scares me a lot is people dying with wisdom. The wisdom you've gathered along the way should not go to the grave. Leave it behind. We are going to use it to make our lives better. So that we are interested in amplifying the voices of the women. And as we amplify their voices, we know that they are going to wake many others up, because we live in a world where many people are asleep. In fact, 90% or so of the population is asleep. We are just, doing what is said. I mean, what everybody says should be done. And our voices are not heard. If all our voices were heard, then this world would be noisy. And the world is supposed to be noisy, because your voice must be heard, and my voice must be heard, and somebody else's voice must be heard. And when we hear ourselves in a constructive way, we build something that is bigger than ourselves, and we leave a legacy that will take ages to erase. So we are interested in awakening the voices of the many resourceful women that are living in our midst, but we are not exhausting their potential. And if we talk about exhausting potential, you can imagine if we exhausted the potential of our people, this is not supposed to be a third world nation. I'm telling you the truth. If we exhausted ourselves nicely the way it's supposed to be done, we are not supposed to be a third world nation. We are a third world nation because there is something about our potential that is not getting exhausted. And a lot of that is found in women. A lot of that is found in women. If you look at the statistics today, you will see that in any given space, the representation does not go beyond 20%, and 20 is too generous to even mention. There are places where it is less than 10%. It doesn't look good. But if you look at the gross numbers of people around us, you know that we have more women than men in our spaces. So I always give an interesting joke. I say, if we were all trees and somebody went into the forest to harvest timber, they would get out of the forest with female timber. More female timber than male timber, you know. So if we imagine ourselves trees, and we imagine ourselves having capability for timber, then we should also see that it is possible for us to produce more than we are producing. And as I say this, I'm not pitting women against men. I am saying that there is something we are not tapping, that we should be tapping, which should make all our lives better. Because in places where this has been tried, it has been demonstrated that actually it looks better. In places where inclusive leadership, for example, has been tried, in places where women's voices were listened to, in places where women were supported, in places where the contribution of women was taken seriously, the results that were posted are much, much better compared to what happened in those other spaces where such did not happen. So because of that, you can see that it is very easy for us to contribute to the national GDP by exhausting the potential of women. It is very easy for us to contribute to the growth and development agenda of a nation like ours, or of a society like ours, by tapping into the resourcefulness of women. It is very easy for us to push our nation forward. And I always imagine that maybe before my time is up here, we would be able to contribute to pushing this nation from being a third world nation to being, even if we go to 2.5, that is okay. Because how come you are born in a third world nation, live in a third world nation, then you die in a third world nation? Don't you feel that is not fair? It shouldn't be like that. We were born to move it forward. Does that make sense? Yes, so that one of the ways we are pushing things forward is by exhausting the resourcefulness of our people. And as I said earlier, there is a huge untapped resource in women which needs to be exhausted. Somebody needs to mine that so that we progress. And as we do that, you can be sure we are going to be sending very, very little of it into the graves. Because if we don't take care, then it will end up in the graves. They estimate that if we exhaust the resourcefulness of women in our space, it is possible for us to inject another 20 to 30 billion Kenya shillings in the national GDP. But they also say that if we move at the speed we are moving, then we are likely to need between 100 and 300 years to realize those numbers. That is so scary, right? It is very scary. Yet what needs to be done is very simple. We just need to shift our mindsets and begin to be more accommodative and begin to be more supportive and begin to be more intentional in terms of identifying those potentials and just mining them. You know, and when it is done very well, it benefits all of us. It benefits all of us. So the purpose of the project is actually to be able to amplify the voices of women in our midst, especially those who have been able to get into leadership spaces and have contributed in one way or the other. We amplify their voices so that they can be heard, they can be seen. We are also interested in showcasing them because one of the things that goes on in our space is that we keep making reference to people from other parts of the world. We quote Oprah Winfrey and Michelle Obama and Mahatma Gandhi and Mother Teresa, beautiful people, and I really respect them. But we don't quote ourselves. When we come to ourselves, we say that's an African saying or an African proverb. There is nothing like that. There's supposed to be the name of somebody there, and we are supposed to put names. I always challenge people, anywhere you find somebody writing an African proverb, replace it with even the name of your grandfather, because he's probably not there, so they will not go and ask him. And, you know? So we begin to place names, the names of our people. There is nothing like an African proverb. It was said by one of us, but nobody took the responsibility of putting that name there so that credit can be given appropriately. You see? So we want to position the wisdom of our people on the global platform and give credit where it belongs. If you go to our website now, we have so many quotes there, and we are hoping that by the time this project is completely done, we'll have generated about 10 million quotes. We are quoting some of you who are seated here. I know you may not think of yourself as a quotable human being, but you're already being quoted. In fact, if I say something that really inspires you, you quote me and put my name there. Let the world know that I said something. I mean, because if they can quote Michelle Obama and Barack Obama and Joe Biden, they can quote me as well. They can quote you. Sometimes we speak things that are loaded with wisdom and nobody is taking care of that. So we are interested in documenting this and positioning this on the global platform, because if we don't document our stories and if we don't talk about it, the world will think that there is nothing that goes on in Africa. Actually, the rest of the world thinks Africa is asleep. We surprise some of them when we engage in meetings with them and they hear what we are saying and they wonder, are you really Kenyan? Most people ask me that. Even this morning I was asked that question. Yes, I am Kenyan. I am Kenyan, and I'm proud to be Kenyan. And I know many other Kenyans that are even better than who I am. So we need to pick those voices and place them out there. We need to demonstrate, by way of documenting, models of exceptionalism, excellence, and success by looking at the people that are making it within our space. This morning, one of the authors that has contributed to this volume was launching her book. She's called Mary Wamai. She works she's the executive director of Equity Group. And I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her because her story has inspired many other people. And that is the real legacy. When you get to a place where your story has woken somebody up from sleep or has changed the trajectory of somebody's life to better, you know you have some real legacy to be proud of. Some real legacy to be proud of. And our stories can inspire people. They can wake people up. There is nothing as powerful as waking people up. You know, my mom used to wake us up. We are 11 kids from one womb. And my mom would wake us up in a very dramatic way. It was pulling the blanket away and sprinkling cold water. I know some of you have tried this thing. So we knew that we were being woken up to life. And when that thing happens, you are alive for the whole day. There is no going back to bed. And there is nothing as powerful as that moment when somebody has woken you up. Because if she didn't wake us up, then it would get to 9 o'clock and we have not woken up. And what that means is that what happened at 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock and all that time, we would not be able to see it because you don't see when you're asleep. You need somebody to wake you up to be part of life. Because when you're asleep, you are somehow not here. So we need to wake people up. And the many people who are not yet being heard or being felt is because they have not been woken up. And some of them can only be woken up by your voice because they will say, I know this lady, I know where she comes from, I know her story, I identify with her, and if she can do it, I can do it. That is the power of waking people up. And you can take this to the bank. Many women are still sleeping. That's why they are comfortable to sit back. And you see, when somebody is comfortable sitting back, they are asleep. You just need to show them, you know what? Let me show you what people like you are doing. Then you just show them like this, they begin to get very angry with themselves. Those people have caught the fire, they are awake. And sometimes you wake somebody up, they stay awake for 40, 50 years. And some of them refuse to go back to sleep. And sometimes the effect of that is that they wake other people up. I've seen people who are woken up and they change their families. Somebody just woke them up with some education. And they change their families with some exposure outside the country. And they change their family with some job opportunity, with some good commendation, with some good pat on the back. Just a little something woken up. And that goes into the family and it changes people. Like me, I was woken up by my primary school teacher. She kept writing, he can do better. So one time, they used to give us reports, yeah? They used to give us reports those days, those people who went to school earlier. There was this sheet of paper you are given when the schools are closing. And she kept commenting, he can do better. So one time I sat down with my mom, what does this thing really mean? She keeps writing this, he can do better, he can do better. So when they explained to me what he can do better means, then I said, all right, then let me shift to that space. And that was the moment of waking up for me, and I've never gone back. This English I'm using today, she taught me. She woke it up. She woke it up. So you probably need to just go back and look for 2, 3 people and tell them, you know what? The way I look at you, I think you can do better. You may just wake somebody up. And sometimes some of us are industries. You wake an industry up because we tell them something, they go start a huge thing, and then it becomes a movement. Imagine if Dr. James Mwangi was not woken up. Wings to Fly would be nothing. It would not be there. This equity that we are seeing here, today it's not even a bank. It's a movement. It's becoming a community. Look at that. Whoever woke that man up, God bless him, wherever he is. Look at the power of waking people up. What if we all were woken up entirely? Look at yourself and what you are able to do. And look at yourself and what you've not been able to do. What if somebody came and just wake up every faculty of your life and let you loose? Imagine that. Just imagine. You probably would be a global citizen because Kenya becomes too small for you. Your wisdom becomes too big to be concentrated in a city like this or in a nation like this. You begin to have global demand. You are needed here and there. There's a gentleman I really respect from South Africa. It's called Vusi. Vusi is not very old. Vusi is my age mate. But that gentleman is now a global asset. And when he opens his mouth, you just love it. Look at the things he has done. And what I love most about him, he wakes people up. When he speaks, you will be woken up. There's something in you that just feels like, yeah, I think I've caught some fire here. So it is possible that all of us, with the experiences we've had and the backgrounds we've had and the challenges we've had and where we have come from, it is possible that we become global citizens. It is possible that we become the trigger for waking people up. And one of the things that we are hoping that this project will be able to do is just to wake people up. Let's wake people up so much that this nation changes. And as I have told you, I'm imagining us pushing this nation from being third world to second, because it's been third since it was founded. Actually, they found a third world. Oh, our founding fathers. Why didn't they think of even founding a first world so that at least we drift backwards? Why did they just start third? Or maybe they just did that so we can get an opportunity. Because if it was first world, so what would be there for us to do? Just to maintain it? Or what? And you know, some of you may not actually feel like you're in third world because you have the gadgets. You have the gadgets, you're living in the houses, you're driving the vehicles, you know? And you are speaking the English and those other foreign languages. You don't feel that you're in a third world nation, but you are in a third world nation. Actually, this meeting is happening in a third world nation. So we should just take this, feel the burden of these words. Feel the burden of this, and let's see whether it's possible for us. And you see the advantage we have, which I think can give us global competitiveness, is the numbers. We have good numbers. When they talk about the numbers we have against other nations, which I think is a beautiful thing, I feel so proud. But the problem is that they usually stop there. They don't tell us how many are sleeping and how many are awake. If they go into those statistics, we will be so embarrassed. They should just tell us how many of these people are going to be fully exhausted by the time their time is over. Because as I said earlier, most of our people are never entirely exhausted. We retire ourselves so early. Don't retire yourself because you've reached 60. So what's that? What if you have another 40 years to live? So what are you doing with 40? You're just sitting back at home and rocking in the chairs and flipping channels? Oh no, that's not good. That's not good. We should not retire ourselves. Let's keep working until death finds us working. You see? So many of us are still untapped, and many of us are not fully exhausted. We must exhaust the resource that is found within us. But importantly, we must be woken up. I mean, we just have to wake up. We have to wake up and tell each other, you know what, you can do better. You can do this thing. You can be able to thrive in this area. You are the kind of people who are cut for this. And let's support each other. You see, like what we are doing here, this book actually looks like a chama. It's a little something from each person. So that the voices that you hear out inside there is like a group of women sitting down talking. And that's so beautiful, you see? So we wanted to create something that can have the way of our life in it so that it sounds like a chama. So there is no single person who will go out there and say, I did it. She has to say, we did it. And you know, when you are saying we did it, you are dragging other people along. So that as you become big, other people are also becoming big. And that is a way of waking each other up. And we are also interested in being able to position the next generation of leaders the right way. The reason why this is important is because we must be able to realize that 20, 30 years from now, leadership will be practiced differently. So whoever is going to be a leader there must be trained and mentored and coached appropriately. In my estimation, the right way of mentoring people and coaching people is not to cause them to be a replica of who we are. We should cause them to be somebody who is going to be functional and useful and productive where they are going. Because the way the situation is going to look 10 years from now is not going to be exactly like this. So leaders will be dealing with a different set of issues. Leaders will be dealing with a different, they will be thriving or doing things in a different environment. So when we are talking about coaching people and mentoring them, we should also give room or allow space for that kind of a conversation to happen, so that we don't produce people who are going to be who are not going to be functional in the spaces they are going to be. And I think we should be more intentional about raising the next generation of leaders. I think we should go down to the schools where we are doing teaching and coaching, and where all this training goes on, and we begin to talk about leadership there. Many of us have waited until we have gone through school and now we are out here. Then we are being introduced to issues of leadership. Those of us who are lucky to try leadership earlier on in school, that was a very good ground of preparation. So when you get out here, at least you have something. Not so many people get that opportunity. You wait until you have graduated and then you're told you're the head of department. So you wonder, so what's this thing being, head of department? So I think if we take this conversation down to the schools that down there, and we begin to position it correctly in the minds of people, then we are likely to produce people who are more prepared. Even if they are not going to lead groups of people, they can lead themselves and be more effective at individual levels. And you know, if we all are effective at individual levels, then we produce a community of effective people. And that affects the quality of life that we are going to experience. And I'm saying this because many people come out here expecting to be led. A huge lot of people would just sit back and wait. That's why you see people talk about the government should. It's not bad for you to put your expectation or to put the government to accountability, but it is wrong for you to imagine that the government can do everything for you. It's so wrong. There are certain things that the government should not do for us. We should be the ones who should be doing it for the government. But many of us would sit down and let things go because the leader is not there, or they don't see themselves as leaders, or they think somebody else would do it. And I think one of the problems of Africa is that we have so many people who do not know how to take responsibility for the things that they are even supposed to take responsibility for. That is why many of us would let our lives slip. You imagine that maybe it's your father or your mother who should be taking care of you, or your spouse who should be taking care of you. People should come to a place and realize that I am responsible for me. Even if I have somebody who I am reporting to, I am responsible for me. Because sometimes things change. When I was young, my parents were parenting me. These days, I am the one parenting them. Because now they are old, they keep calling, what do we do here? So I ask myself, who is parent here, who is child? But things have changed, and they don't see that as any problem. They feel like you went to school more than we did, or you have been you know how things are working these days, so you can advise us. So that is how things change. The people who parented you, a time will come you will parent them, and that's a very powerful message to remember. So that if you are blessed with children, you parent them well, because there is a time they will also parent you. So you mishandle them, they will mishandle you. And usually it comes back. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Yes. So that we lead well, so that we can also be led well. And if we all accept that it is okay to take responsibility, to be in charge, to move things forward, or to make sure that things are working, if we all can accept that, then you know we are changing our lives and we are improving the quality of our lives. And it will not be hard for us to find leaders, because these days it's hard to find good leaders because many of us are not doing it. We are all seated there and we are waiting for so and so to come and do it. And as I said earlier, there are many things that are not happening because the leader is not there. Everybody is waiting for the leader to show up. That's not a very good thing to do, because we are slowing down the speed at which we are moving. Because one of the things that really interests me is the speed of things. How fast are we moving? So that even as I talk about what I'm saying here, the question that lingers in my mind is, how fast are we moving toward this? Are we the people who takes 100 years to change a few things? Or are we the people who takes 1 year and we are done with that? You see, if you look at the story of the agitation of women inclusion in this country, I feel embarrassed that it has taken long. These things we are saying were known 30 years ago. But the speed at which things are moving, there are certain people in our midst who are not comfortable with what we are saying. They feel like, no, it should not be like that. yet we know that what we are saying is going to give us a better life and a better experience and better returns than what we have experienced in the past. You see the way people are opposing the new constitution? There is a time they oppose devolution. You people are aware of that? Look at what devolution is doing to this country. We can see beautiful stuff happening down there. And people are opposing that. So all the time we wasted opposing devolution, we just slowed our pace. So as I say this, I want to wake us up to the fact that it is okay to accept change. And it is okay to contribute to good speed. Because if I'm the one talking about this, then you know that it's going to be slower. But if I get all your voices joining in, the speed has been increased. And that brings with it what we call momentum. I love momentum. Momentum is something that you don't get until you start. It is somewhere down the road. It is waiting for you there. But you have to come with some kind of speed so that momentum can tag in. It's the same as synergy. Synergy does not show up until 2 or 3 people are together. If you go and do your things individually elsewhere, synergy will not show up. Synergy is birthed when forces come together and they are joined. So we can produce synergy if we decide to work together, but we can also produce momentum if we decide to engage movement, because momentum waits for us down there. So that what we are saying here about this project will need both synergy and momentum. That when we have started engaging movement, we don't stop, because momentum is waiting for us down there. And when we decided to come together, we don't disengage to go separate ways, because if we disengage, we are going to lose synergy. It is synergy that causes this volume to stand here. This is a product of synergy. If each person takes their article out of this, there is no book. It just collapses into nothing. And even if you go with your article, you can't call that a book. It is reduced to an article. You see? But as long as you allow it to stay in here, it becomes a book. And it produces an effect that your article alone cannot produce. So the purpose of this project is to just cause all of us to be woken up, to cause all of us to begin to work together, to cause all of us to begin to put value in the involvement of women, and put value in their wisdom and in their resourcefulness. Because we need to tap into this resourcefulness and use it as a competitive advantage for ourselves to power our growth and to power our progress. So where this project is going looks like this. We are hoping that we will churn out many other volumes. And the reason why this is important is because when we document it, then we can demonstrate to the world that it is there. Because the world we live in today recognizes what is documented. When you don't document it, they think it is not there. So we have to document it. And what we are documenting is experience-based wisdom and lessons that people have collected along the way. I always say, if you can write the story of how you made it through school and you made it through your first job, etc., that alone is enough to inspire many other people who are like you. But many of us don't think that that is worth writing. Many of us think, okay, well, even everybody has their own story. There is somebody who, when they read your story, they will get woken up. But many of us don't place value in that. How you went to driving school and the mistakes you made, most of us would just imagine, driving school, what is that now? Everybody makes those mistakes. Sometimes just talking about that helps people. And you do not know that until you talk about it. That is why people who have gotten an opportunity to share stories of their lives, whether on TV or through books or other forms of media, they usually are considered like role models. The way you struggled with malaria or your first pregnancy or your first job or a toxic boss or anything that you went through and how you made it through. You just talk about that, you'll realize there are so many people who get inspired by that. So we are interested in those kinds of stories and the lessons that people have learned. Those lessons, for many years, have been lost because, this is not the first time we're having women leaders in this country. We had them in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, even in the 50s they are there. But nobody wrote down what they discovered. The nuggets, the wisdom they picked along the way, nobody wrote it. So it disappeared. And so we show up in a platform where there is no documentation of what goes on within our space. So we are hoping that by doing that, we can be able to document that and build literature around that, that can be able to demonstrate how that looks like within our space. And then we are hoping that once we have built literature, we send these materials to places where leadership is going on. You see, before we began this project, we just went out and did a spot check on what leaders are reading. And those who read are actually reading beautiful stuff. Unfortunately, most of the books that they are reading are not written from within. Most of them are from America, from Britain, from Canada, and lately we have a huge influx of materials from the Asian world. There's no problem with that. But when will we read our own? And if you check some of those books, some people are just talking about their own stories. If you read Melinda Gates' Moment of Lift, is it Moment of Lift? There's a book she wrote called Moment of Lift. It's just her stories, her experiences with women. Some of them are even just African women because she's been doing a lot of work here. She's writing about the experiences of our people. And then that becomes her, because she's giving it her perspective and stuff. Yet we are those people that probably they were working with. Some of those people are our brothers and sisters, and we are not even writing about that. So we need to push this content into those spaces where leadership is going on, so that through this we can begin to influence the philosophy and the practice of leadership within our space. Hopefully, after a while, we will have enough of resources from within our space being used as reference material. We are also interested to pick conversations out of that. Actually, the writing of this book is just the beginning of what we want to do, because the issues that are being highlighted in this volume, for example, very, very insightful things that we must place around conversations, because things happen when people engage in conversations. We talk about it in the media, we talk about it in lecture halls, we talk about it in podcasts and webinars, in the boardrooms. We will talk about it all over, because that is when we get to implement the issues that are being raised. And then beyond that, we are hoping that as we do those conversations, people will pick triggers to start programs that can be able to implement the things we are saying. So those of us who are doing coaching, leadership coaching, or leadership training, or you are mentoring people, read this book and use the insights that are shared in there to spice up your programs, to spice up the kind of things you're doing. Because you will be picking lessons from people who have exercised leadership in this space. And you know, the way it happens in our context is very different. It's very, very different and unique. I always say that life is very, very contextual. You cannot import some things from other spaces and bring them here and hope that they will work, because the way we do culture here is different. The way we do religion here is different. The way we do politics is different. The way we think is different. So there has to be something that works within our space. And if we can learn from that, then we are likely to do better, because it is going to be responsive. It is responding to the dynamics of the situation within which we live. And that's very powerful. So we are hoping that from the literature that we build, we will be able to influence those kinds of programs, so that one day, some of this literature will be used in academic institutions for those who are doing leadership programs and coaching and all these kind of things. Because I'm telling you the truth, you go to any university now, any college, ask them which textbooks are you using. Read the authors, you will be so shocked, and I know you know. Most of them are not even written from within. When I was in college, I think I saw 2 or 3 textbooks that were written by local professors, and they were just amazing stuff. They were just amazing stuff. So we are hoping that by building this literature, we can use it to influence the way things are happening. To influence the way things are happening. And as I said, beyond the book, we must do conversations. So those conversations, some of them will be conferences and workshops and seminars and summits and roundtable talks. And you know, when we say that, that is when people can pick that and be able to implement it in their areas of work. So in finishing, SheLeads is a project that we call it an interventional project. We are not just interested in writing. We are interested in writing things that can be used to come up with solutions. Some of those things that have been shared here, I know when they were writing, probably they were saying, okay, let me just share this lesson and it may help somebody. We want to use those insights to come up with interventions that can power our progress and growth in the right direction. Hopefully, by the time we are done, we have reached to more than 10,000 women, and hopefully we have influenced conversations around leadership, and we have changed the numbers. I always imagine that a day will come when we will not talk about 2/3 gender rule, but we will remove the fractions. Just remove the 2/3 and let it be open. It should be 3/3. Anybody who is capable and willing and ready should be allowed. We should not count head and say, okay, we need 50 men here and 50 women. We should just be asking the question, are you willing and capable? Go right in. Even if they are all women, we should not have a problem with that. Because there comes a place where you find those realities happening. So we are not going to limit ourselves by 2/3. We just say, all right, capable, willing, go in there, contribute, and then let's see how we are moving forward. Hopefully one day we will stop looking at each other as male and female, but just see each other as resourceful people. When you have something to say, you are given to say it, and people don't judge that and say, okay, that came from a woman, or that came from a man, or that came from a young boy, or that came from an old man. We should not look at all these things. We should just look at the weight of what somebody has to contribute and move by that. And I think one of the reasons why we are still lagging behind is because other nations have gotten to a place where they appreciate even what the little children are saying, and they are using it to power their progress. Yet in this place, if you've not reached a certain age, you don't talk. If you've not acquired certain statuses in life, you don't talk, you know. There's a time I used to hear, if you're not married, you can't talk. Who said you can't talk if you're not married? If you're born with wisdom, what do you do with your wisdom? Do you wait for it to get married for you to share it? Oh no, I refuse that. You can be young and talk. You can be a woman and talk. You can be a man and talk. You can be old and talk. You can be disabled and talk. You can be black and talk. You can have a funny looking nose and still talk. You can have a big forehead and talk. You can have big hair like mine and talk, or bald-headed and still talk. I mean, everybody is resourceful if we allow them space to show us what they got. And that is what we are hoping to achieve with this. So allow me to stop there. And thank you once again for believing in it. And as I finish, I want to say this story. The very first person to sign up in this project was Esther Katiba. So Esther, one day I asked Esther, you know, this is just a story we've been saying here. There's nothing to show because there was no this. There was no book to show. There was nobody else she could talk to and say, okay, can I talk to somebody and see what you guys have discussed with them? Nothing. So it was just like that. So one day I asked her, Esther, why did you sign up? And you know that there is nobody else who has signed up. Then she said, I signed up because I felt this is going to be a big thing. So when she said that, I knew that is the voice of a leader, because that is what leaders do. They feel that this is going to be, and then they deploy themselves in it. So that now became the motivation behind. And that is why today we didn't cancel this, because we felt this was going to be a big day. So I was telling my team members, you know what, we cannot cancel. All these people believing in it, and one interesting thing about this, out of all the women that have been featured in this book, only one of them knows where our offices are. Only one person came to confirm there is an office. The rest of them just believed and said, we go. So I keep telling my team members, you know, you cannot disappoint people like this. They believe without even seeing. They send their articles. Actually, most of them are seeing my face here today for the first time. You see? But look at that. Look at that. Just imagine people trusting each other. They've never seen each other. Just voices. We are just talking and saying this and that, and we are moving. And look at what we did behind the scenes, because we were not seeing each other. All of us were behind. Look at how it looks like. What if we all decided to feel that this is going to be big, and then we throw ourselves in it, and believe that this is going to be big, and move without even needing to go and touch it or see it to confirm? Because it is possible. So when you get to a place where you can feel that this will be big, and then you do it, you know you are a leader. So when she said that, I knew I'm talking to a leader. Because that's what leaders do. They feel this will be, and so they do it. And because you also felt that this is going to be, you came. Actually, there was no other evidence to prove to you that there was something. You just came. That is the behavior of leaders. So I'm so proud to see you here, and I really commend that nature that is in you, because that is the nature we will use to power the progress and the move that we want. It is what we need, and we must exhaust it. We must commit ourselves that we will not stop until we've woken enough people. If your work for the remaining days of your life is just waking people up, you please go ahead and do it. Do it and watch what will happen, because people behave different. People produce different when they are woken up. We are not the same when we are awake compared to how we look when we are asleep. You know, when we sleep, we just snoring and we're making movements we can't account for. You know, you don't even know where you are. And we just ride on dreams. That is what we used to imagine, that we are still alive. But when you are awake, that's when you pimp yourself up. You know, you look more pimped when you're awake than when you are sleeping. So this pimping cannot happen for people who are asleep. And that is what it means. When you wake people up, their lives will be pimped up. They will make movements that cannot be experienced when people are asleep. So from this place, let's go and wake people up, because there is something powerful that happens when people are woken up. Thank you so very much.
We can do better. We can do better. Thank you. Thank you so much. Quite a number of take home for me. If it is not documented, sometimes we just conclude that it did not happen. So there is really, it's really important for us to document. I want you to ask the next person, are you woke? Then ask the next question and do not expect an answer. How have you woken someone up? Someone else up, yes. One key thing that I also take note, listening from where this book is coming from, is that these powerful women are rewriting the narrative on women and leadership. And as a very good student, in terms of what Radido just talked about, in terms of making reference that are homegrown, I will now make reference to what Naomi Njeri, who's a contributor to this book, has just said in her chapter where she's talking about elevating leadership abilities. And she says, it is okay to say that I don't know as a leader and I need help, or I am sorry, or I was wrong, because this opens up more space for learning and growing and also relationship building. And therefore, this is the beginning of referencing our own. Make yourself a reference. So also write in your pages and note by Morina Cheng Otieno. I also love how this story began, and thank you, Radido, for being the vision, the power of vision as a leader. And also, as we began, we talked about the power of social media, and I told you to post something out. If this lady did not post, this vision would not have been birthed. So we really thank God, and we take everything that we do in terms of posting very critical and very important, because it's going to change lives. One post, just one post, is going to change quite a lot of the narrative around women leadership. At this particular point, I want to welcome our very able ladies who contributed to this book. We say that without their contribution, this would not have been a book. And if they take away the articles, I'm now referencing Radido by Radido Doors, so I am really learning, then it would only be an article and not a book. So at this particular point, I want to welcome one Miss Priska to really come and speak to us. Ladies, all you ladies who are here, we know that you have all the boldness and the courage and the confidence. You see, when you're doing it from the back, it's very easy. You're just typing, it just flows. But now we are about to test your confidence as we see you up here. So we are really privileged to have you, and karibu sana Priska. Even as she comes, I will also quote her. Just come as I quote you, madam. She was writing about courage, and one critical thing that she wrote, and I really love, is that she says, you must be in the room to make a difference. And when you get to that room, make sure you generate value. Karibu sana.
Wow, thank you, Maureen, and thank you, Radido. Like I'm very organized. my my husband is here and he knows like so I expected, to get a schedule of when we would each speak. So, but it's all right. I'm ready to go. So, Miss Catherine Musahali, the chief guest, and we stalk you as we told you. Mr. Doso Radido and the entire Zion Pearl family, my fellow co-authors here, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you so much for, being brave and coming here. I mean, all of us, I'm sure, prayed in the morning and we were just like, God, may your will be done. And this is his will and we thank him for that. So thank you for taking time to join us in this celebration. It's indeed a celebration of the fruit of our labor. 17 women from different walks of life. 17 different stories on leadership, all weaved into one book. We are so different, you should see us here, yet we are so alike. SheLeads is really the story of us. I would like to take some time to speak about courage. That is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And yes, my chapter in SheLeads is about embracing courage. So please have a look and buy a book also if you haven't. Yeah, but what does being courageous really mean? It means taking the path that demands your very best. The path that enables you to bring your full expression. The path that enables you to live a purpose-led life. Like everything else, it's easier said than done. It's very easy to say be courageous. But when you look at the alternative, it's actually more costlier at the end. Skirting on the sidelines of life costs you in the end. When we let fear hold us back, when we settle for mediocrity, we deny ourselves the opportunity to grow and to achieve greatness and to make a difference in the world. We shrink ourselves and we limit our potential. But here's the thing about courage, which we all know. It's not the absence of fear, but the ability to act in spite of it. It's stepping in and stepping up, even with the fear. It's about acknowledging the doubts and uncertainties that come with any challenge, but choosing to move forward anyway. And then my iPad decides to interfere. No. It's different, yeah. Each and every one of us has the capacity for courage. It resides deep within us, waiting to be awakened. It lies in our willingness to confront our fears, to step out of our comfort zones, and to take bold and decisive action. And when we choose courage, amazing things happen. You can see already we are celebrating SheLeads today. We inspire others, we create change, and we become the leaders that our country and the world so desperately needs. In the pages of SheLeads, you'll find stories of women who have demonstrated immense courage in their lives. My favorite book in this story is about, and also, referred to it, is when you're a mother, you're a leader. And Marie, sometimes we think it's like you have to be CEO, whatnot, but it just starts, from where you are. So their stories are not just tales of personal triumph. They're a testament to the power of courage. They're a reminder that we all have the ability to lead. And as it has been said here, it's not about your title, it's not about your position, it's starting where you are. To make a difference and to create a brighter future. And that, my friends, is worth celebrating. So let this launch be a call to action. Let it be a reminder that we all have a part to play in shaping our destiny and empowering others to do the same. Let it be a reminder that our voices matter and that our actions have the power to ignite change. So let SheLeads be a catalyst of change. We are reaching 10 million women, yeah? Let SheLeads be a source of inspiration and empowerment. And let SheLeads be a reminder that each and every one of us has the power to create a positive impact and to shape a better world. And as I draw to a close, I'd like to thank my husband who has stood by me and my craziness and my choleric tendencies. Thank you very much. My family who are here, thank you very much. I really do appreciate. You have also stood by me. My fellow co-authors, as he said, SheLeads is just different articles, but with us coming together, it's now a book. Mr. Doso and your team, thank you very much for carrying the vision to the end. And finally, I want to thank God because everything I am and hope to be is anchored in Him. Thank you once again for joining us. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for being so organized, but we can tell that you're good to go regardless of what comes in. We want to appreciate your husband for showing up and also for your contribution, giving her the space to write when she needed to write. So thank you so much. I want to speak to what Dr. Elizabeth Wamera said when she was talking about self-leadership and also navigating through for growth. One interesting thing that she mentioned in her piece, you need to get this book and read more about it. It was about taking up space at the table, but sometimes the table has no seat. So what she's telling us women is that you carry your folded chair to that table and take your seat. So very interesting. I really loved reading through what you wonderful women have been writing. At this point, I want to welcome a wonderful lady. Let me quote her. I am very serious today. I'm quoting people. She talks about the intersection of discernment and vision and the ability to imagine the future. You imagine the future of the company and adequately plan for it. So don't just imagine, imagine and plan. So imagine and act. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as I welcome Madam Sandra Ochola. Thank you. Very neatly, smartly dressed. She awaits to edit her photos. She did very nice photos. So we're looking out for your postings. Karibu sana.
I'm saying I don't know why I had the feeling that she was going to ask me next. So I started flipping through my pages just in case, so that I know what I'm going to talk about. But thank you so much, everyone, all protocols observed. My fellow co-authors, I think what we have achieved, what we have done, and what we are launching here today is really, really, really great. My section is about visionary leadership. And one of the reasons why I wrote about it was because there's so much happening within the leadership space. There's so much conversation about leadership that's going on. But then you find half the people talking about leadership are not expressing it exactly as it should be expressed. Okay? The perception out here is that for as long as you can stand out and speak loudly and say put sentences together and inspire people towards one direction, then that means that you're a leader. But then I believe for us women who are sitting here, there are certain processes we've gone through, there are certain experiences we have had, that we are able to see leadership for what it is meant to be. And so that is why when I was writing about visionary leadership, one of the reasons why I was motivated to talk about it was to bring clarity as to what leadership is and what leadership should be, or what leadership ought to be. And so when I talk about visionary leadership, one of the things I've stated is that visionary leadership is authentic, visionary leadership is people-centered, visionary leadership is futuristic. It looks into the future. And one of the things that, one of the paragraphs that you're going to see in the book, it says, you can be in a room of 10 leaders, but then one of them stands out. There's a reason why out of those 10 leaders, exceptional leaders in the world, one of them stands out. And I gave examples such as Nelson Mandela. There were so many other people who were fighting for freedom for South Africa. You have Martin Luther King, other civic and political leaders. You have Mother Teresa. What was it in that pool, in that group of leaders that made them stand out? And in my research, in my writing, I realized that it was vision. They had a vision. All the other leaders, and that is not to downplay what they did at their time, All the other leaders had an inclination of what they wanted to do. But then you'll find that majority of them did not have the vision of what they wanted to achieve. And their vision is not, as I've mentioned, that we need to move from point A but to move to point B. It is about authenticity. It is about being futuristic. It is about being people-centered. So that as we go back to our spaces, you are going to identify a manager. A manager is more interested in results and in ticking boxes. But a leader, and a leader with a vision for that matter, his actions, his decisions, the way he talks to people, the way he treats people, the way he or she treats his staff, improves them, makes them grow, makes them better people. The decisions that he or she is making are not just for today, they are for 10 years to come. And my hope is that as we continue to have these conversations about leadership, as we're going to continue inspiring other young people to come up as leaders, we are not just going to tell them leadership is about influence, leadership is about ticking 1 or 2 boxes. We are also going to expect of them to be visionary leaders in their areas of influence. And that is why for me today, I was really happy to bring on board 2 young ladies. They are from an they are from an organization called Hesabika Trust. I don't know how many of you have heard of Hesabika Trust, where I'm one of the mentors. Hesabika is keen on developing young leaders right from the university stage and taking them through public service. And they've been through this process, it's approaching 1 year now. And whenever we have such events, I do my best to tag them along. Because we've written a book, we've had through experiences. These are not experiences for us. It is for them. These are not events for us who've gone through it. It is for them. So that as they're sitting on such tables with such magnificent women, as they're moving around talking to you, you're inspiring them. You are giving them lessons. You are preparing them for the future. And I'm hoping this is what this book will do, beyond this room, beyond the conversations that we're having with them at the table, that one, it's going to inspire not just 2, because I know from here they're going to spread the word, posting it on social media and everywhere else. It's going to inspire them and many other young ladies to let them know what leadership is, what leadership should be, and what leadership ought to be, and what kind of leadership us women who are here today have inspired them to be and to become. Thank you so much.
We can do better. We can do better. Thank you so much, Sandra. And also for being very intentional in terms of mentorship and working with the young ladies you have done as well. So thank you so much. I want to, again, is there someone who's taking notes to post in terms of referencing? We are referencing Terry because I don't want to, Kigundu. I think I hope I got it right. She speaks about unleashing your potential, and she says that intergenerational learning is very critical, and also mentorship. And one key thing that she mentions is that you should be very consistent even as a leader. At this point, I want to welcome a lovely lady that I have met in the coastal regions in one of the mentorship programs as a mentor. And she is a force to reckon with there at the coast. So msimwone yuko hivi hivi tu kwa leo. And one key thing that I have taken note of in her writing as she talks about life lessons, as she talks about the work-life balance. She says that it is very critical for you to create boundaries and focus on family, knowing that family is the only ball that when it drops, it doesn't bounce back. So put your hands together even as we welcome Helen Otieno to speak to us. Karibu sana.
All protocol observed. Good evening. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Today is a day that we experience something that 7 months ago was only a dream. Actually, it was an idea. And even as we signed up to do what we have done today, it was something that for some of us, like me, was something that was completely new. So I'd like to thank you all very much indeed for finding the time and committing to attend the launch of Volume 1 of the SheLeads Leadership book, which is a collection of leadership lessons from 17 phenomenal women, as we have been told earlier, who are leaders, and most of whom are present here today, I believe. I also wish to thank God the Father, who made all this possible, because without him, it wouldn't have happened. I'd like to also thank the publishers who were Zion Pearl, publishers who challenged me to write, and who honored their end of the contract every step of the way. You woke me up. Do so. And the much appreciation also goes to my co-authors. Together, we made this possible. If it was only one of us, like Duso said again, it would have been an article. And lastly, I'd like to thank my family and friends, especially my daughters, who egged me on to accept the challenge of being a co-author in this book. I am grateful to all of you for being here. Like Maureen said, my name is Helen Otieno. I'm a mother and a wife, and now retired. No, actually now refired. Refired. I'm a now refired banker. I have spent the last 30 years in the financial services industry. My journey as a co-author of this book started in November last year, after I made a decision to retire from the bank in October of the same year. When I was approached by Zion Pearl, publishers, to make a contribution, I thought, how timely. I then went on to grapple with thoughts of the imposter syndrome, where I questioned my prowess in the world of writing. This happens to many of us, especially women. Whenever we are faced with a new challenge, where we have to move into uncharted territories, I would soon find out that it is in those uncharted territories that our creative juices truly come to life. Isn't that true? Good. As I mulled over the suggested topics, it became very clear to me that the topics covered experiences that I had actually undergone at some point or another in my life as a leader, and not necessarily in the corporate world, but life in general. At that point, I knew that this would call for an authentic engagement with my audience. This deeply inspired me, as honesty is my top value. Over time, I have come to learn and experience the power and impact of a story that is authentically told. I was sold and easily picked a topic. As a confirmation that it was my time to write, I remembered a verse from the Bible. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, that says, "Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." Women, ladies, we are part of mankind. We are all leaders in our own right. And we need to train our minds to say yes whenever an opportunity arises. As women leaders, we are at a time in our lives where even when there is no seat at the table, we carry our own with our feminine energy. I watched a lady not too long ago at a male-dominated circle meeting in Mombasa, where all the leaders at the front were men. And she actually challenged them, took a seat, and went to sit at the front. It was very funny, and we all laughed, and some of the men were even helping her to carry that seat. But the message was home. This book is about wholesome leadership. Lessons as shared authentically by women. The knowledge shared in this book should be used to develop leadership in general, while enriching our leadership philosophy for both men and women. Women leadership is unique, powerful, and absolutely necessary. We have more and more capable women leaders, young and old. The leadership agenda of this country is desirous of participation from all leaders, male and female across the board. This book has been written for all leaders. I need not belabor the power of gender inclusivity. As the Director of Operations Zion Pearl Publishers, Duso Radido, rightly alludes, and I quote, "It is clear that embracing women leadership is not only the right thing to do, but a powerful growth and development strategy." I know you agree. So go on, invest in yourself by gleaning from the leadership nuggets shared in this book. I chose the title, The Work-Life Balance. I will not go deeply into it. I will summarize by sharing a precept from that. Life throws us curveballs every so often. The balls are labeled work, family, friends, finances, etc. It is a constant juggle. The juggle is amplified more when you are a woman in leadership at the center of it all. How you balance out all this with grace and poise takes a great deal of personal work, unending reflection, and readjustment, if only to achieve a balance, a state of bodily equilibrium where we function at our best. At its core, leadership is just that, leadership. It is not gender sensitive, is it? Thank you. Thank you very, very much, and as the Japanese would say, arigato.
Thank you so much, Helen. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. I was telling her I was really interested in knowing more, and I was like, a chapter is not even enough for her. She should consider continuing and writing a full book on the work-life balance. Thank you so much. For those of us who are streaming live, kindly note that you can purchase this book at Nuria Books Kenya. When you look at their Facebook page, it's called Nuria Your Store. And other stores that will be stocking this book soonest that you should look out for is at Somanami Books and also Textbook Center. There is one lady by the name Yvonne Tharao who wrote a very interesting story, and it got me at the edge of my seat. She was writing about weathering life's storms, and one key thing that I took from her was, don't let anything, person or circumstance define you. Get up, shake the dust off, and live again. So it's very important for us to live again. And at this point, I want us to put our hands together as we welcome this lovely lady by the name Lucy. Lucy, I want to quote you because I am a quoter today. There's one thing that she talked about, and it was very interesting, even as she follows Helen, who talked about leadership as not being gender sensitive per se. And therefore, the role of the male gender in building muscle is very critical. And she says, a woman who has stood up to the most present, prominent, powerful, and important male figure in her life will be unbowed by the position, power rank, status, and social capital of her male and masculine women counterparts in the world space. And therefore, the male gender, the males in our lives are very critical in rewriting our stories where leadership is concerned. Karibu sana, Lucy.
Thank you so much, Maureen. Hi, everyone. All protocols observed. You know, I used to be in the military, so if I start going per protocol, we shall not leave this place. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm so happy that you all came here today. And I'm so happy that this has finally come to happen. I think the conversation about this book was preceded by an even previous conversation I had with Radido, because I have a story that I want to put out, but I can't seem to wrap my mind around it. So when the opportunity of this book came along and seeing what I've put together, I feel like now I am ready to go the full breath. Yes, that's important. And that is the impact of co-authorship. That is the impact of what he's actually just been talking about. Waking up, waking somebody up, but waking yourself up. That one, I want to say, is so critical, fundamental, and transformational. And the thing about it is, it's not for everyone, believe it or not. It is not for everyone. Not each and every person can wake themselves up. We think about leadership as this thing we find ourselves in, you know? You get this job, oh, I'm a leader. You lose this job, oh, I'm no longer a leader. You get another job, oh, now I'm a leader. I don't think that's how it works. Because, and I talk about it in my chapter, which is Leading the Self, leadership is like a plant. You have to nurture it right from the start. The ability of leadership resides in each and every one of us. In one form or another, all of us are leading ourselves and we are leading others. And so the idea that leadership is gender-based, the idea that leadership is industry-based, the idea that leadership is economically based, it's simply not true. And so when we think about leadership being a characteristics that is in each and every one of us, then it should give us hope to know that each and every one of us, angling in the same position, headed towards the same goals, we could actually do a lot. The idea that leadership has to be positive is also not true. Because you would agree with me, we have leadership that is taking us straight to hell. That is also leadership. So what do you do with your capacity to lead yourself and your capacity to lead others? Each and every one of us has to make a decision about this. But then, because of our understanding, because of our awareness, we know that this is something that we need to create in a broader platform, in our homes, in our families, in our schools, in our churches, at our workplaces, whether it is in sports, whether it is in arts, whether it is in finance, whatever field it is. We know that everybody has the potential just as we have. And so how are we going to bring all of us together, that synergy, so that we can actually lead ourselves to a place where we can be able to be at our very best. The place where we can be able to have abundance. The place where we can be able to have safety, inclusivity, equity. Where we don't have to decide somebody's life is more important than another. Because we decide, what do they have to offer? Leadership is also understanding everybody has something to offer. So can you have that time and opportunity to just bring it out in people? There's a lot I talk about in my chapter. And the big reason being that when I got into the military, leadership is not even a conversation. It comes with the territory. As a commissioned officer, you even get a parchment from the president where he tells you, I am giving you the authority to command and order all those who are below your rank. And you must be able to be obedient and take orders from those who are above your rank. Period. It seems simplistic. But then human beings get involved. And then things go awry. I've talked a lot about how we become leaders as women. My experience tells me that we have a lot of work to do in terms of being able to even bring out feminine leadership in our setting. Because the leadership that is there, even in women, is heavily, heavily, heavily influenced by patriarchy and just the masculine way of doing things. And so I talk about terms like women who suffer from internal misogyny. This is not just terminology. These are things I have experienced. I'm sure you too have experienced. I talk about women who lead with masculine energy. This is something we have all gone through. I think a good example is what happened in Limuru. What the hell was that? And it was done by a woman. And so we live in a place where people say, oh, but a woman did it. So somehow that's supposed to be okay. Because as a leader, that's how she has demonstrated it's supposed to be done. So we have this thing where we have a split mind and we're like, do we support her and say it's okay? Do we not support her? And by doing so, people will say, you see, women cannot lead. Issues about authenticity and integrity have been talked about. Just because someone is a woman and she's in leadership and she makes a mistake, saying that that was a mistake does not mean women cannot lead. And I think this is something that we have to be confident about talking about. There's a lot more I could say. Sitting there listening to every woman who has come here to speak, I feel like they've said it all. And I think the importance of acknowledging that is knowing that in all the spaces that we are in, we are all speaking the same language. So what happens when we weave our synergies together? In just a form of support. Because to be honest, being a woman leader who can push an agenda, who can be transformational, who can be able to really upset the status quo, it is lonely. It is isolating. You are constantly being misunderstood. And that's why to be able to seek your kindred spirits is a very big aspect of sustainable leadership. Leading the self, for me, I feel, in an authentic kind of way, is also the acknowledgement that you're not constantly leading others, but you're always trying to inculcate the leadership of the self. There is no woman leader who just comes up without the influence of where she's brought up from, without the influence of the people who got into her ear, who got into her psyche as she was growing up. And so when I talk about women and leadership, I really also want to talk about the role of men, the role of fathers and brothers and uncles and grandfathers, and just men in general, in the cultivation of leadership. She quoted me very well where she said, if a girl, a woman, is able to stand up to the most prominent patriarchal leader in that particular home where she comes from, or village or setting or wherever, then she's able to stand up for herself in the world. Standing up for yourself, that's a whole other topic. Because my experience has taught me, like, when a woman stands up for herself, she ends up standing up for other women, for other men, for boys, for girls. There is not a single time I've seen a woman stand up for herself and she just stood up for herself. So I just want us to remember that and look around and see and support, even in prayers, to be honest. Thoughts and prayers, me, I'm all for it. Those who are standing up for themselves, because one thing that is true is that there is no woman who has an individual and singular experience that is different from another. I am excited about what this book will do. I'm excited that people will be able to use real life stories of not just overcoming, because I also have a problem about the monetization of trauma and pain. But I want this book, in its importance of being able to deliver lessons, to really shine a light on so many people. That's my dream and hope for this book. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your contribution. I want to bring on stage a lady who speaks about leadership and leading discerningly, and apparently, I believe she's so discerning because she was the first lady to sign up. So indeed, she discerned and saw the power of this particular book. And she reminded me of chemistry. There was this famous paper called the litmus paper. So she says that the litmus paper for good leadership in the current workspace is the mental, emotional, and psychological well-being of the followers. So looking at leadership from those people that you lead. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, even as we welcome Esther Katiba to speak to us. Thank you for believing. You're the person who opened the door and the others just entered, because at least there is one more person already in. Karibu sana.
Thank you, thank you. Radido, I am still the same one who went to the office. I am that guilty. And I went through his books. Actually, we had quite some time in your office. I went through the books, checked through. It's a legal side of me. I'm an advocate by profession. So I think that's a lawyer side, right? So all protocols observed. Thank you everyone for making time. I first want to thank God that this has come to be. I think it's been a journey, prayers into it, and I know the ladies can attest to that. We were talking with the ladies and they said, wow, this is it. It has come to be, you know. I want to thank, there was a lady in Zion Publishers called Esther. Esther was such a strong pillar in this whole process. And I think she kept, I can see all the authors nodding. She kept calling us and I would tell her, Esther, I think this thing is not working. I'm too busy. And she says, no, don't give up. Maybe just record yourself. We'll do what we can do. So I tried. I recorded myself, sent to them. Something in me said, no, this is not what I want. I don't want someone else to write my story. I want to do it myself. And Trini, wherever she is, may God bless her. For me, my family and my spouse, who didn't make it today, my husband happens to be my coach. So you can imagine how tough it is to have your spouse as a coach. Sometimes he says tough things and I take them personal, then I remember, oh, that was the office side. Now let me come back to this side. But he says it as it should be. And he says, I'm your coach and you will not post this on, I'm very loud on LinkedIn. And he says, no, this one, no. Then I'm thinking, it's my page. He says, no, it's our brand. So I want to thank him and my two daughters, Hadassah and Hesed, who kept telling me, Mommy, you can do it. And when they saw the book, they said, yes, Mommy, we want to see your name. So they keep the book actually in the sitting room. That's where our book stays. Because they keep saying, Mom, when are you writing more? So it's a family book that we can all read. Radido, thank you. I think I sent you 1 million messages. And he says yes. I am that person that will just send and just say what I feel I need to say with respect. Even for today, I'm like, where is this? Where is this? Where is the list? How are we speaking? What is the order? I mean, all those questions. And he's not tired. He answers all of them. That's who we are. Women are organized. That's why you see this beautiful book. Because women are very organized, right? So just straight to my chapter. Allow me to just recognize Catherine. Catherine, I can't go on without recognizing you. And when I came in, I said, you're going to be my mentor and my coach by force. So I am now declaring this in front of everybody. It is good. We were told to bring your seat, isn't it? So just take your seat next to Catherine if you want to go big. So I wrote on leadership and leading designingly. I'm a spiritual woman, and happily so, because I am also a pastor. So that combination is really good for me. I have worked in many organizations and I've watched leaders and watched myself as well. You know, there's a time you watch yourself, think you're the best mirror for yourself, and I've seen sometimes we leaders, and I don't want to say they leaders, I want to say we leaders, miss out in understanding our followers and our people. You see, when you get into that position where you think you know it all and your team doesn't, then you're losing it as a leader. I am a believer in hiring smarter people than myself because that makes my work very easy. I am never threatened by stronger people in my team because you do not have to recheck their work again. So I believe in leadership as a calling. I am a firm believer of leadership as a divine assignment. The day you understand that as a leader, you have been given, you are on a divine assignment, then you will do it with wisdom and you'll be cautious on how you treat people. Leaders identify gifts and talents of their team members. I know it could take some time to do that, but it is your work as a leader to identify the gifts and talents of your team members and fund them. Not just see the gifts and talents, but see them and fund them and grow them. Leaders, for me, my 3 values are always integrity, number 1, excellence, and impact. So if it doesn't have those 3, I'm out. If it has no integrity, it doesn't matter how much it pays. Even if it's a job, I won't take it. Because it comes with a cost. When you sit in a place as a leader, there are expectations from people around you, including your own family members. Your children look at you. If you sit here as a mother or a father, you're a leader in that home. So they look at you, and any act that falls short of integrity, you're saying something to the people around you. So I say leaders should have integrity, accountability, empathy, and you know all this because you sit here as leaders. I also speak about fear versus respect. Now, many times we've confused fear for respect. Now, the fact that your followers fear you does not mean they respect you. And I think it's important for you to evaluate if the people around you fear you or they respect you. Now, fear is instilled, respect is earned. You see, I have seen leaders who feel so good when they get into a room and everybody disappears or people keep quiet. Respect and fear are very different. Look at them as a leader. I believe in building an organizational culture that aligns with business strategy, and I believe in cultures that accommodate other people. I know every organization and every home has a culture, right? You get into an organization and from the reception, look at their dress code, listen to their language, look at the leader. There are places you get into and the leader walks in and you know. You're a stranger, but you can tell. And you'll ask the receptionist, that's your boss? Because of the way they walk in. So be intentional about building cultures that are sustainable in businesses and cultures that respect people. Cultures that will go to generations. Not just for yourself, not just creating a space for yourself to thrive, but a culture that creates a space for everybody else to thrive. Now, leaders exhale, and I said that, or leaders complain upwards. It's a very hard place to be as a leader, because sometimes you really want to vent out, but then you shut your mouth when you look around and discover that it's your followers or your juniors that are near you. So as a leader, it's a difficult place to be. It's not very easy, but sometimes you bottle up many things, but I said in my chapter, leaders must learn to complain upwards. And then this includes, I dare say, in the government. I think we have to know where we vent, because the things you vent downwards can have a very huge impact. Your word as a leader is very strong and powerful. I also like Sandra, and thank you, Sandra, for bringing the 2 beautiful ladies. I'm a believer in raising a takeover generation. I have said many times when I walk into an organization, the first thing I do is spot the person that should take over from me. And people get worried about that statement. I come in and I want to see my successor first. Because if I don't see that, then I'll be there long. Or I'll be in that position very long. So from the start, I spot and I say, this is the leader, this is the person that I would want to take over my seat, and I begin to grow you. Because if you can raise others, then you leave a mark. It's really leaving yourself, leaving a footprint wherever you go. Integrity for a leader is a non-negotiable. And we need to look at that deeply as leaders, that if it has no integrity and you call yourself a leader, then ni the one we say jiite kamkutano, si ndio? Yeah. Integrity is a non-negotiable for a leader. It's sad how children and young children can challenge leadership even on the screens. You know, a leader says something or does something on the screen, and your child says, "Na mulisema huyo ni?" You know, because so as a leader, think you better be slow in what you do, in what you say, but just make sure it has integrity in it. And finally, be generous with praise and cautious with criticism. Be careful as a leader. I have heard of people that say their esteem was eroded by a teacher in school. You know the statements that teachers, and with all due respect to the teachers in the room, even in campus, there's a teacher that will just say something and you're thinking, it's taken you years to get over it. Everybody thinks you're so big, you are doing so well, but there's a voice that speaks in you. And you will do something and that voice just shows up, you know. You can't do it, you know. Who do you think you are? I mean, that voice, let's be careful with the words we speak as leaders, because they are powerful, you know. Just recently, and I learned the power of the voice, and I was sharing with my co-authors there. I held an event called Wanadada Tufunguke in partnership with Chiromo. And the psychologist took us through an exercise that was, I think for me, that's what took the day. It's not even the team building, the dancing and the rest. We were told to form 2 circles. And the circle outside would go around whispering positive affirmations to the person. You move to the next. But the ones inside were required to be silent with the eyes closed, so that it's just a voice you hear behind you as a woman. So people will come and say, you're beautiful. The next one will move, come and say, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. You know, those affirmations, by the time we were done with that round, women broke down. I mean, it became something very different. And Chiromo, who've been my partners, have had to move around with the soft tissues. Women are wailing. Just affirmations, the power of words. So let's be careful as leaders. When we speak, make sure you are not destroying a destiny. Just make sure you're building somebody and that word will carry them through. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your contribution towards this wonderful book. For those who are looking over onto their phones, I'm just hoping that we are amplifying this particular launch, and therefore remember, for those who joined in late, that our hashtags are SheLeads, hashtag SheLeads book launch, hashtag Women in Leadership, inclusive leadership, and also remember to tag Zion Pearl Publishers. And this is a nice opportunity to also just put up what your take homes are from those beautiful ladies that have just spoken. And now I want to welcome one lady who spoke about what it means to be a woman leader, and 2 key things I took note of. that she says is that being a woman in leadership means building people and the community up. And there's someone who also spoke about, was it Lucy, I believe? She spoke about being a woman, and when you show up, you're not only showing up for yourself, but you're showing up also for others. And therefore, she continues to say that leadership is about social influence and having the ability to influence and infuse a believable is a keyword, believable vision. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we welcome Esther Kiriga.
Thank you. Wow. Good evening. Good evening once more. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to see all of us in this room. Probably even before I start, when I was seated over there, I was just laughing and saying, there's this very famous quote in Kenya that if you want to hide something, hide it in a book. Yes? So I was saying this will not be that book. SheLeads will not be that book that we've hidden some things. Yes, we want to ensure that the book is read. We are learning. We are always learning and learning and relearning, right? And I always say there's no monopoly of knowledge in the world. We always have something to learn from your child, from your next door neighbor, from everybody around us. So yes, in terms of, at the start, again, good evening to all invited guests, my co-authors who I have been able to meet today, even on my table. Yes, Catherine, thank you for coming, definitely. All protocols observed. Allow me to start by, again, congratulating Radido and the entire Zion team. And I echo what my co-author Esther said. I was just saying the other day that Esther at the Queens, yeah? There was another Esther, yes, at Zion. And even for me, she kept, really calling me every day. And I'm like, you know what, Esther? Let's just do a video. Yes, I cannot do this. I cannot do this. I can't even write a whole page, leave alone a chapter. So definitely to the team, I really thank you for giving us the chance to be able to document. Yes, a lot of our stories, I'm sure, here in Africa are not documented. We get a chance to be able to document. It even outlives all of us. I know for me, my chapter was about what it means to be a woman leader. And definitely in my journey, I have had a very rare opportunity and great opportunity to learn at the feet of really great women. One being my mother, definitely. Yes. And of course, my first boss, who I really appreciate. And I know some of them, I've actually mentioned them in the book, in terms of women who've been able to lead the way. Yes, sometimes very harshly. Yeah, but all for good. And to be able to show us what we can be even when we don't believe in ourselves. For me, one of the key things that stood out in my journey, and I'm still learning, yeah, over the years, is one of the key things is the power of showing up as a woman. Yes, we are really called upon to always show up. And what do I mean by this? Showing up is in every facet of life. At your workplace, at your home, at a children's school, at a conference, and always bring what I call bring in your A game. Yes, showing up is one thing, but as we show up as women, are we taking the baton and saying, you know what, I will definitely include my voice in the room. Yes, I will ensure I do not miss out, especially for us in the corporate world. Yes, I know we are called upon to do a lot of items. You have your home, you have work, you have other things to do, and you must be able to juggle, attend to all of them at, I would say, 110%, and not bring mediocrity in whatever you do. So in my journey, I have learned that indeed, not only showing up, but showing up with your full head, and to being in your full A game. And one of the key lessons as well is that as a woman leader, there's no finish line. There's no finish line that, after this year I'm done being a woman leader. No. It is every day. It's working. It's every day you have to put in your best foot forward. There is no time that will come and say, now I'm done. Let me give it, or let me just sit and just be mediocre. And definitely as I conclude, I would want to leave you with a very good quote I have been able to use in every day of my life. And this is from the first woman president in Africa, and I know we all know her. Yes, Ellen Johnson. And she actually says that for all future generations, they will judge us not by what we say, but by what we do. Thank you so much.
We can do better. Thank you. Thank you so much for your sharing. We truly appreciate. Sorry. At this point, I want to bring in another lovely lady. She spoke about embracing the leader within, and my take home, this is what she says. Perception creates a belief or a disbelief of our capacity as leaders, and therefore taking time to look back and identify our potential and using our past experiences not as hindrances but as opportunities to grow is very critical. So choose wisely what you think about when you look at your past. Let them be opportunities for growth. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together with me as we welcome Coach Tracy.
Hi everyone. I'm a bit loud, so please bear with me. It's just who I am. Seniors, you are like team authenticity. But anyway, my name is Coach Tracy. All protocols observed. To everyone who's here, I'm super excited to meet you, to see you in person, and to just be in the midst of greatness and amazing women. And I'm very encouraged. I feel like today God was using some of you to like tell me where. Wake up. Kuna hizi area, you know, as all of you were talking, I was like, oh my Jesus, I hear you. I hear you clearly. So my name is Coach Tracy. And, you know, it's interesting what God can do through you and for you and, you know, to you when you choose to align yourself with the things of God and to just pursue purpose. And my story has always been very interesting. I'm more relatable to this young generation because I've been on media, so I've been a TV host and I was a musician. I was in the secular world before I met Jesus. Around 2019, but I kind of backslid. But then again, within the same year, I was like, girl, you need to be serious. So I started pursuing God and I was very relentless. And I was like, you know what, Lord, I understand where I went wrong, but I need you to help me in this journey. So I fully committed myself to walking with God. And it has been amazing. One thing is, it's so interesting how God works. The day I was called by Esther, she's such an amazing girl. I don't even know what to say. I really wish I could have gotten to meet her in person today. So when Esther called me, she was like, there's this book, it's called SheLeads, and we are getting a few people to write about it. And I was like, it's very interesting because 1 year ago, that was in 2021, in my notebook, you know those two books we write in the beginning of the year, unaandikanga zile vitu unataka kufanya, you know, you're like, new year, new things, new person, new ambitions. No, I had a book and I had written, I want to write a book called She Heals. And you know, when she called me, I was in a season of, you know, prayer, and God is just working on me. And I was like, do you know, it's so interesting. And I was like, I wrote this down, and I was like, this is maybe in 5 years. I wasn't sure I could write anything. And her telling me this, I went into prayer, and you know, the Lord was like, it's okay, you had the plan, you had the vision, it's something you really wanted to do, and your timeline was maybe in like 2, 3, 4 years. But you see, me, I'm God. I don't work with your time. 7 months, we have the book out. Something for me I was considering to be, you know, 5-year plan, 5 years. Coach Tracy, you'll get there, you'll get there. So it's very interesting how God works. So I'm just looking at this book and I'm like, what can't God do? And my life has just been, you know, grace and mercy. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, the small things which sometimes we have in us, and the visions we have, the dreams we want to achieve, and sometimes we have the imposter syndrome. As Helen was talking, I was like, this is so me. But it felt so nice to hear you talking about it, because I'm like, you've been working longer than I've been alive. So I'm like, if she still had this, then I'm good. I can get through this. So I've been very, very much encouraged as well. So I was like, the imposter syndrome. You should hear me telling people about this book. The first time I was like, yani mimi ule msee, unachiki ale wasemazi wanajua kitu wanadu wakifanya vitu zao. Yani mimi ule msee tu nikaona kwa tu Mungu kusunda mahali tu, then you're like, God, what are we doing exactly? So I really felt like I did not deserve to be in this book, because I looked at my life and I was like, okay, what exactly? Am I really a leader? What exactly am I doing in this life? Like, honestly, where am I leading people? So I had like a lot of conflict within me. And as I was writing, I went into prayer for like 3 days and fasting, and I'm like, manze God itabidi uchezeka wewe, cheki umeniingiza kwa ngori, mimi sijui kitu ya kudu. And God was like, you're overthinking it. Write about the things I've been teaching you, write about your story, and just share those doubts you've been having and how they've affected you as a person. So as I was writing about, embracing the leader within, I was like, I don't need to have like a physical, permanent, geographical position for me to be a leader. And it's something I came to realize the more I'm going around in high schools and campuses talking to students, and I was like, maybe I'm actually a leader. It's just that I don't have a physical position in a company, COO, CEO, and all of that. And I'm like, it's okay, God, you are the CEO of this one, but it's okay. We're good. So as I was writing, I was very drawn to writing about embracing the leader within, because this is something I really struggled with personally. But I came to realize I'm quite known in the social media space, and I was like, there's so many things I wish I knew that I know now, but I'm glad I did not know them, because then it gave me room to make mistakes and to grow and to learn through my mistakes. So when I was writing this chapter, I just remembered all along since I was younger, I had a headmistress, and she used to like tell me, I want you to become the head girl. Then I'm like, no, I want entertainment. I don't want anything serious. I think being a head girl is too much work. I don't want to deal with that. Like, I've always been resistant to being put in positions of having to lead people. Because one, I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of, I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. And sometimes I'm just doing what I think is right. But sometimes it could be the wrong thing. As you said, Esther, you're talking about it and you're saying we should embrace, making mistakes, being wrong, and accepting that sometimes we'll fall short, and it's okay. We are human. But then what can we learn from that? So as I was writing through my chapter, that is one of the things that really grounded me. And the biggest part is, my faith as well. Because I came to realize outside of God, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in this book. Outside of God, I'm nothing. Like, I'm literally nothing. I can't be known. I can have, people are like, yay, she's Nani. But I'm like, it means nothing if I'm not aligned to the things of God. So as I was writing this, the thing that was in my mind was pushing people into a space where they can pursue God relentlessly so that they can get to understand what God created them for. Because outside of God, we can do a lot of things, but that doesn't mean that is what God wants us to do. And for me, I did so many things thinking this is what I want to do. But the influence was from a lot of things I was consuming, either by what I was watching, what I was listening to, the people around me, my family background, and just society at large. But I wasn't really doing things because I really wanted to do these things. It's because I thought I wanted to do these things because of my environment. So as I was writing this, my main agenda was to just get young people to see that if you pursue God, it can show you what you're supposed to be doing. Everyone is doing whatever they're doing, and it's okay. But then there's what God wants you to do. And if you miss it, then you're missing the purpose God placed you on this earth for you to do and for you to accomplish. So something I think that really stood out for me the other time was, I think I wrote something in regards to having a flammable vision, that it will always attract like-minded people. When I started walking with God, it hasn't been that long, but on a serious note, like 2 years now. And a lot of things shifted in my life. And I felt like I was a failure because I felt like I went back to zero. It's like God takes you back to, you were doing it alone, I wasn't there. So listen, we are going back to nursery. Now let's begin. So I felt like I was nothing. I'm doing nothing with my life. I don't get it. But then the Lord was very patient and gracious with me, and he was telling me, I need you to trust me, and I need you to be patient, and I need you to understand the vision I'm going to put in you. I'm going to draw people closer to you and people in your circle who are aligned to that vision. So if I was still the same person that I was, oh my, I would have never written, because I think I'd be nursing hangovers probably, instead of thinking of writing anything constructive in regards to a book. And I'm just proud of the woman that I'm becoming. I'm proud to meet women like you who are inspiring me and who are showing me that it's possible to do things the right way, to be grounded in Christ and to still pursue your dreams and pursue leadership, and how you can just lead differently, authentically, and just learn so many things as you grow. So I'm really honored to be here. I'm really honored to be part of this book. I'm really honored to be in the midst of greatness and all of you. And I just want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because without him, this would have never happened and I wouldn't be here. So praise be to Jesus, and God bless you all.
Amen. Amen. We can do better. Thanks a lot, Coach Tracy, for the energy. The ones coming next, mkona kazi. But thanks for the energy. You have done well and really very passionate about working with God. Very interesting. We look forward to more books from you. If you wrote it, probably there should be a book. This is a chapter, please. So Zion Pearl Publishers are your publishers. Thank you. Now I want to bring us, we are almost done with the speeches. They are interesting. I don't know whether you bored me, I'm not. Hapa kazi tu, sasa tunaendelea. I want to bring us one lady who talked about motherhood. And you see, mostly when we look at mothers and stay-at-home moms, we do not put them in the brackets of they are working, or a number of you have mentioned about leadership and how people think that it has to come with a position, a role. You're in business, you're working. But she looked at leadership from a mother's perspective, and my key take home was that at all levels, we consider ourselves as leaders, and therefore we need to be good at it. And therefore, as a leader, she says, you are a trainer, you're a teacher, you're a mentor, and you're a guide. And please buy the book. Those who are watching online and don't have the book, kindly purchase the book. It's very interesting to see how she transitioned from corporate to a stay-at-home mom. So ladies, let's put our hands together as we welcome Anna Maria Mwachinga. Karibu sana. And she has support. Ametembea na support system. Please give her another round of applause.
Wow, she said, bring the energy. Gosh. You know, stay-at-home moms, you're just grateful to be going to bed at the end of the day. You're not thinking energy. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, okay, I would like to say, and I'm very proud to say this, that the gentlemen here, they are mostly on my table. And they're my family members. And I see many of my friends have come out to support me and my family, so thank you very much. To our guest of honor, thank you for writing the foreword and for coming to this event. You could have been anywhere else. I mean, Mandamano, myself, I was like trying to convince myself that I really should be here. I'm grateful to my co-authors. I'm meeting most of you I'm meeting all of you for the very first time. Some of you have reached out to me online. I'm sorry, I'm not online savvy, so if I drop the ball, please forgive me. Right, I will stick to what I wrote, otherwise we might be here the whole evening. Right. So, my name is Anna Maria Mwachinga. I am a widow and a mother of 2 children, a boy aged 15 and a girl aged 12, who will both be in boarding school in a month's time. So as you can imagine, I'm not looking forward to that. I have had a prolonged and scheduled stop as a stay-home mom, and the withdrawal symptoms have been drastic. As an engineer by profession, I have decided to explore my other talents and passions, and so now I'm doing writing. I started a blog months ago on my website, www.anamochinga.com. Please check this out. And so this is my first published works. And there is a novel in the pipeline. Yay! So my contribution to this book is a chapter on motherhood as leadership. And before I say that, I know I'm looking all, knowledgeable about being a mother, but I'll tell you the truth, I didn't go into it happily. I was dragged into it screaming, and yeah, it wasn't very pretty. But once I found myself there, I picked myself up, as women do, because that's what we're called to do. So, mothers are called to be leaders and role models to leaders, who are our children. We lead by example, and we have the task of molding their character. Motherhood is simultaneously being thrown in the deep end and the perfect training ground to develop, build, and challenge your leadership skills if one willingly submits to the process. Motherhood can be looked at from two scenarios, one as trainer and the other as trainee. Mothers as trainers teach, mentor, guide, and instill self-reliance in their children, and the end goal is to raise a leader. As trainees, mothers learn humility, patience, servant leadership, the art of negotiation, especially when your child wants to wear that one outfit that you know you thought you had thrown away. Yeah, and we become visionaries. We, like imagine trying to feed your 2-year-old. You have to inspire that child that the greens on the thing are actually an aeroplane coming all the way from Asia that wants to land in the airport called their mouth, visionaries. So my advice is, take the role of motherhood seriously and set the bar high by intentionally raising leaders for the next generation. Thank you.
Asante sana. You have managed. So another round of applause to her. She has maintained the energy. And as we come to our last but not least speaker of the day from the authors, I want us to put our hands together for Grace. So Grace was talking about growing into leadership as a woman of Africa and the world. And one key thing that I took note of as she wrote was the role of mentors, very critical. Mentors who believe and trust in someone. Role of mentors who believe and trust in someone goes on to send a sense of belief and value on those that are being led. And therefore, very critical that you have someone whom you call a mentor and is able to believe in you. And as you are a mentor, then also being able to believe and trust in those people that you lead. So help me put together your hands as we welcome Grace Kome. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Maureen. Indeed, these are happy moments for us all as the women who are here today. I'm happy to be speaking last because I've just enjoyed listening to all the women. I was writing notes as you were speaking, and I really just want to take time, go back home, and really, interact with this book intentionally. Because what I've had today really, these are not just stories. These are people who engaged, and every word that was put in that book had a purpose. And what I intend to do is really to go in and get all the juices from your stories. Thank you. As you've heard, my name is Grace Kaome. I authored chapter 8. I talked about growing in leadership. You all have talked about Esther. That lady is amazing. When she reached out to me through LinkedIn, I asked her, what makes you think I can write? And she told me, Grace, I've gone through your LinkedIn profile. I've seen, articles you've written, short experts you've put in, even advice you've given to people, and I think there's something in you. In fact, she referred me to articles of like 2015, Kitambo, when I was not even really thinking about what I was putting there. But she had gone through that, and she had seen something in me which I hadn't really picked. And I was so touched. So I was on and off. Sometimes I would disappear. She would set up a meeting virtually and we would discuss. So eventually I said, okay, I will do it and I'm committed to this, and I never looked back. Why did I write about growing in leadership? And I focused especially on women. I work in HR, and that has been my space. I think for me, God was very intentional with me. Very few people say what they studied in school is what actually they got to do in life. I was one of the very lucky people who, what I did for my first degree is what I got to practice even before I went for graduation. I've been in the HR space for about 15 years now, and I interact a lot with young people. So my passion is especially for young people in transition, because I see a lot of confusion in that space, and I've experienced that a lot in HR, because people have confidence, in high school, in college, they're leaders, in clubs, they're leaders in many other things, but they get out and the world really is not kind to them. It really shatters all the dreams they had. And what happens is that then people get into a space where they do not understand themselves, and the leader they believed they were just gets lost. So for me, that is a space I am really interested in. And I wanted to speak to these people just to inform them that really there's something in them, even in that confusion. And many times, and especially for us African women, we get to lead even when we do not know that we are leading. In our families, you're left with a family, your siblings are there, and you're like, make sure everyone, takes a bath, everyone has food. And many times we don't see that as leadership. So what I wanted to do is to encourage them that there is a seed within them. There's a seed within each and every person. If you've ever been asked to do something and you did it to perfection, it tells us there is something in you, and we can capitalize on that to bring out the very best in you. So that is what really inspired my chapter. And within that chapter, I tried to bring out 3 key elements. The first one is about mentorship, as she has rightly said. And I drew that from my own experience, because when I was very young in my career, I was very bold, having worked for 1 year, and I felt I could change the world. So I'd see job adverts of 5 years, and I'm like, I can do everything here. I mean, why not? So I would apply for jobs, that required 5 years, and I only had 1 year. And there was one person who was bold enough to call me for an interview. That 1 year of experience for a job that required 5 years. And I went, and I did the interviews. Then after that interview, he told me, okay, we need to have a discussion. You do not have the experience that I was looking for, but I see something in you. I see a leader in you. I see someone who has the potential to really make a change in this space. And so this is what I will do. I will take a risk. I will not hire a HR manager. I will hire you. It is at a lower level position, but I will freeze my recruitment plan for a HR manager for the next 1-2 years. If you prove yourself that you can do this job, you will get that position. If you do not prove yourself, do not worry. You will keep your lower level position, but I will hire a manager for you. And that's exactly what he did. Trust me, I went to that job. Every day I worked knowing that someone who did not even know me believed in me. And in a very short time, I got that position. And for me, that is the power of someone believing in you. And so my challenge to you, many of us who are in leadership, do we believe in people who come to us, who are entrusted to us, or do we crush them? Do we crush those people who, just all they have is confidence, all they have is a dream, or do we really take that seed, water it, give it manure, give it everything it takes, and see something in them? So that for me is someone I really credit for my career journey. And God has been so gracious to me, because throughout my career, I've had such people in my life. So I stress really then the need to have mentors, the need to believe in people. The second thing I talked about in my chapter is the environment and opportunities. And for us, especially as women, because the truth is many times we get opportunities, but what do? We second guess ourselves. We do not want to take them. We think we are lesser. But look at our male counterparts. Sometimes they're not even more qualified than we are. But I'm telling you, they put on, they're like, yeah, we can do this, we can do this. Then, on the side, they're like, tufanye nini? But for us women, many times what we do is say, I'm not good enough. Okay, maybe give John that. We will support John to do it. Why not Mary? So for me, that section, I wanted to talk about the many opportunities that come our way, to encourage women to take those opportunities when they come. And the truth is, when those opportunities come our way, no one ever tells us that they are coming to test our leadership skills. No one tells us they're coming to test whether we are ready for a promotion or not. But if you take them, if you grab them, if you make the best use of them, then they propel you to where you need to be. And so really, let's not shy away from taking opportunities that come our way. Don't be shy when an environment is not working for you. And sometimes some environments are just not right for us. So you might find yourself in a space, and Esther knows this, we are in HR space, that is toxic. You do not have to say, okay, wacha tu nivumilie, It is okay to say, this environment is not taking me where I would like to be. These are my goals in life. This is what I want to pursue. And so it is not connecting to where I would like to be. So it is okay to let go. So that really matters. I talked about an environment that allows you to do three things. An environment that allows you to be yourself. An environment that allows you to think. An environment that allows you to do. If you can think, if you can be, if you can do, then you're set for greatness. Lastly, I talked about, the third thing I talked about in my chapter is attitude. I'm telling you, attitude can break or make you. And many times, even when we take those opportunities, and someone talked about, I think it was the other Esther talked about the A game. So in my section, I talked about bringing your 100%. Many times we just occupy space. Imagine we could have been somewhere today afternoon. If we are not bringing our A game to this afternoon, then we are as good as just, to not occupy vacuum. That's not what we are meant to do in life. If we are taking something, let us take it with the attitude of positivity, with an attitude of, yes, we will give our very, 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 very best. In a way that it gives us so much joy. But in the process of giving us joy, it also touches other people's lives. It influences others. Have you never wondered why people who have a positive attitude in life are able to attract many more to themselves? But those who have a negative attitude, the best they could do really is have people say, hey, umeisikia huyo. Really, let us bring the best of ourselves. Let us believe in ourselves. Let us not wait for people to validate us. Let us be an inspiration to those who are around us. Let us not give people reasons to eliminate us just because we are women. But the fact that we are women, that should push us to really even greater heights. When I was writing this book and thinking about young people, I thought of people that I lead even in my own house. And that's why today I came with my daughter. Maybe you can just stand and wave. This girl is my greatest inspiration. She's 11 years old. And we were having this conversation with her today before we came, and she had to know what this is all about, because this is a generation that you do not just carry with you. So you have to know, where are we going, who will we meet? what is it all about? So we were talking about it, and I explained that this meeting is about women in leadership, and I sought to know from her if that is something she's interested in. And she told me, Mom, yeah, that's interesting. But actually, in my school, they have the government. Nowadays, they have school governments. Actually, it's only one leader who is a boy. All the others are women. So it's like, wow, that is good. And she actually vied. She didn't get it, but that courage to say, she was vying for vice president of the school where she is. And so I think there's a lot this generation has to offer. So really, I dedicate this work to the upcoming leaders. I dedicate it to leaders I've ever worked under. I dedicate it to leaders, even that we have led, and because I still believe they are leaders, even though we have been their leader at any one time. And we thank God for bringing this to pass, and we believe it is not the end, but from these we'll see many more generations of leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I also want to thank you for bringing in your young one. That lady is amazing. The questions she was asking her mother when she was reading the book, and she's like, she was reading the about section, and she's like, are you the one who wrote this? She says, yes. Then she's like, why are you saying she, and it is you who are writing? Then she was even asking her, so you did a degree in business administration? Yeah. This is a generation to look out to, and then also just giving her that platform to, experience women leaders. Probably at one point she'll be talking about this launch. At this point, I pray that you're not tired. Please speak to your stomachs. There is some tea. Do not rush out. In fact, we are yet to check how the roads are looking like, so don't be in a hurry. But we are in our final stages. I want to bring to us an exceptional leader, an influential woman leader in this country. She's the current chair and co-founder of Women on Boards Network, Kenya, an initiative that aims at promoting and encouraging women into boards leadership. She has championed corporate governance in private and public institutions, and also spearheaded the development of 3 codes of corporate governance. This one we need to be upstanding. Kindly, a standing ovation as we welcome our very own Madam Catherine Musakali. Karibu sana. We are really honored to have you here with us. We are very privileged to have you, and we thank you for your time, for your patience. You have waited. We began late, but here you are. We don't take it for granted. Karibu sana. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please sit. As I was sitting there, and all protocols are observed, as I was sitting there, I could not help but think that this is huge. This is fresh. I don't think any of you knows how big this is. I don't think you've even thought about it. But in my mind, this is huge, this is amazing, and thank you for making yourselves vulnerable, for the world to learn from you, for that young generation to learn from you and to grow with you. So it gives me great pleasure to join you all on this very, very special occasion, which is the official launch of SheLeads. I thank you for giving me that honor of sharing this occasion with you. It speaks so deeply to me, and I'm thinking that we need so many women to read this book, to hear the stories, and to be encouraged to also tell their stories.
So this is a great initiative which seeks to promote and encourage women leadership through experiential learning, because that is what you're doing. You want others to experience you and to learn from you through the sharing of your stories. I have worked in the area of corporate governance and diversity for a number of years. It will be 10 years or so this year. And diversity is one of the things that not just Kenya is struggling with, but quite a number of countries are struggling with. And not just diversity in any type of leadership, be it political, be it boards, which I work with very closely, or other types of leadership. It is diversity on all fronts. And so that is why today, this launch is so important. And as I speak to women and men across Kenya and other regions, it has often been said to me that women lack role models, that we do not have enough women who have climbed the corporate ladder in different spheres, that those who have made it either don't want to share their stories or don't have the time to share their stories. It has also been said that everyone should tell their own story, that nobody tells a better story than you yourself. And I think that is true. Just sitting there and listening to you. Priska knows I did not even utter one word to her. I was just soaking it all in. Dear friends, that is why, again, I want to say, this launch is so important. We need to start seeing leadership through different lens. Through different lens. You know, that lens that positions leadership, that speaks to us differently. That leadership is inherent in each and every one of us. That it is not about that position. It is about you. You know, when we start to say that we don't have mentors, we don't have role models, it's because we have a skewed opinion of what leadership is. That we are not looking at those of us sitting around you as leaders, but we are looking at position as a leader. So sitting there again, I'm thinking, why do we scramble for the few political leaders we have? For the golden skirt, as they call it on boards, when each and every one of us has a story to tell, nuggets to share, lessons to share, and they're so willing and they're so ready to help us out. So let us redefine leadership. Leadership, as I said, is inherent in each one of us. Each one of us can influence, can mentor, can guide, and support other women. That's what I've heard today. So let's not look for the names that we know, for the faces that we have heard, seen, and voices that we have heard on TV. The influencers of your life are sitting next to you.
We have great examples of leadership today. We have seen resilience in the book when I read it, and thank you, Radido, for bringing it to me. We have seen resilience. We have seen great examples of people who have walked the same journey that we are walking. This book and this launch is about turning seemingly ordinary events in people's lives into extraordinary stories that can inspire, that can spotlight and encourage women leadership. Turning the ordinary into extraordinary. You guys are amazing. And these stories that you have told are going to influence generations to come. One thing I believe in deeply is that women do not need favors to succeed. We don't. They only need opportunities such as what you were given and what you're sharing with us today. We need an enabling environment to compete not only with each other, but also with men. And more often than not, when this environment is provided, women excel. And when I look at and I read through the Constitution of Kenya 2010, that enabling environment actually exists. We have been talking about the law that brings to life the 2/3 gender rule. We can survive without it. If what I heard today is anything to go by. That enabling environment is embodied in the great stories that are found in this book that we are launching today. I also believe something else, that until women take full charge and responsibility for the issues that concern them, change will always remain superficial and slow, because we can always blame somebody else. But when we take responsibility and accountability, then we make things move. That taking charge and responsibility starts with what we are seeing in this book. Starts with women telling their stories, sharing their experiences, being vulnerable with each other, supporting each other, and enabling each other to grow. And so that is why today I congratulate each and every one of you, including those contributors who are not here. That great book will influence generations to come. Thank you for allowing yourselves to become vulnerable. Thank you for stepping up, bringing your A game. Thank you for encouraging other women. Thank you for doing your bit to move the needle with regard to women's leadership. Just this morning, I was actually at another launch of a book called The Village Girl by Mary Wamai, who was one of your contributors as well. A great read by Mary. And if you think about what she has done, you have also done in equal measure. So you have made your contribution to women leadership. And those of us who are sitting here and haven't shared our thoughts should actually ask ourselves the question, what are we doing at individual level to influence leadership. I urge the women here present not to lose sight of their goals. If you had goals that you have achieved, they ceased to be goals. And so you need to set others. If you put your mind and effort to it, the universe will always conspire to make those goals happen. Your voices need to be heard, and your contributions need to be seen. And thank you once more for sharing your stories. You will shape the future, and you need to hold the hands of your younger sisters so that they follow in your footsteps. Women have the power to create, to nurture, to transform. And that's what we are called by God to do. If we don't do that, we're missing out on our God-given duty. So do not sit on your knowledge and experience, but use it to nurture, use it to mentor, use it to grow other women. I cannot end my remarks without thanking Zion Publishers and Radido in particular, and his team who conceived this great idea, and for being so passionate about it. Being so passionate. I mean, you heard him earlier. Radido, you are the true he for she. You are the male champion. You are the male champion that we all want to be. Women leadership is not about excluding the male. It's about working with the male. Because they have capabilities and gifts that we don't have, just like we have gifts and capabilities that they don't have. So we must work together. May you, at Zion Publishers, continue to make a difference. And as chair of the Women on Boards Network, I pledge to work with you to make this project bigger, better, and indeed international. Because in my mind, Kenya has to become the reference point for female leadership. It has to be. With these stories in this room, it has to be. I end my remarks by sharing a quote from Mary Wamai, who, as I said, launched her book today. And she says this. She says, finally, I embrace these 3 simple rules of life. If you do not go after what you want in life, you will never get it. If you do not ask, the answer will always be no. If you don't step forward, you will always be in the same spot. So it has been a pleasure sharing with you this launch, sharing your stories with you. I cannot think of another place where I would have felt so much at home. Thank you for having me.
Ma'am, thank you so much for coming and for gracing the occasion. I would like you to stand with me here in the front for the next couple of minutes as I welcome Radido to present a token of appreciation. We really appreciate you and what you're doing. And also we have remembered that there is a promise and it has been recorded. So Radido will be looking forward to your continuous support. Thank you.
So Catherine was introduced to me by Jackie. Jackie spoke of you so highly. I said, get me that lady, I have to talk to her. And I called her. It was in the evening. We couldn't find time in the early hours of the evening. So she said, you called me at around 8. So we picked a conversation at 8. Yes. And we talked and talked and talked and talked. And the reason why we talked and talked and talked and talked is because when I started talking to her, I knew I am talking to the right person. You know, sometimes you talk to people and you know that, this is the person. So you engage higher gears and it goes higher and higher. So we talked and talked. And what I was trying to tell her is to release her spirit in what we are doing and get herself involved in this. And she has not given me a difficult time. Unajua kuna wale tunasumbuanga. Other women sometimes can give you trouble if they decide. This one did not. Very kind spirit, very supportive, and that's why she came. She came, she told me she is coming, and I said, all right, we will wait for you. I was not even doubting that you will come. I knew today was going to look like it was going to look like, but I just knew, yes, I just knew you will come. That's why I did not respond. Yes, because I knew tulishaongea tulimaliza hiyo story, sasa wewe utakuja tu, alafu itakuwa mzuri. I think we all have loved her, right? Yes, yes, yes. Those of you who can tap from what she is carrying, please tap into it and exhaust it. Huyu asiende na hizi vitu amebeba. That's what I was saying. This is a resource, let's exhaust it. Let's exhaust it until we feel like we have been impacted. So I want to appreciate you with a small token here. There is another token that's supposed to be coming. Where is it? Please give me everything she's supposed to go away with. Where is the other gift? Janet? All right. So while that is coming, I will have you receive this. This is our token of appreciation for the support that you have given this. You know, it was so good for you to come because they know who you are. They know what you carry. Some of them even want you to be their coaches and mentors. Please take this microphone and accept publicly so that we know.
No pressure, right? I did agree to mentor her and her friends. So we'll do group mentorship.
Wow. That is so lovely. Thank you. Thank you. So I will give you this.
And even before you have your seat, we are still asking you to stand with us here as I call upon the authors. Please kindly come ahead in front so that we can officially launch this our book. That is Kenyan or Kijaluo English. This our book. Karibuni sana. Madam, come on this side and you'll take the honor of officially launching us this book by cutting on this ribbon. But ladies, you take the opportunity. They said you take it, you grab it,
By force.
you take it by force. You can move ahead and then cut it from here. Radido, I don't think that you need to be so far away, so we are also asking you to come ahead. Cameraman, to organize. Wasonge nyuma wako sawa? Your hand, no, the cake is behind. Please do not touch the cake. These are the books. We are doing both. Yes. So here is to many more volumes to come. And congratulations, ladies. You have done as well. Thank you so much also, Mom, for gracing us with this opportunity.
Symbolically to our little daughter.
Oh, where is she?
And by the way, when you turn 13, you are eligible to join the Women on Boards Network under the junior membership wing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And I don't know whether it is an African saying or African. There is no celebration if there is no cake. Sasa ni tutakata keki sasa. So you can take the position on the back. Cameraman, is that okay? You can hold. We know you all cannot cut it, but please find space. Priska, you're very far. Just put your hand there. Thank you. Sasa mtakata keki tukule sasa. Kata keki tukule sasa. Kata keki tule. Kata keki. Kata keki tukule sasa. Yeah, here is to many, many more volumes to come. Thank you so much. And again, please do not go to your seats. So we will be taking a group photo, all of us who are standing here, but we'll move to the other side, and then the cameraman, you'll help me. What do we do? Do we pick this and put that down? All right. So move to this is your left. Move to your left. Of course you can for the photo, and then you return otherwise. Come and organize as my boss. I'll carry someone to help you carry this. Where do you want us to have it? Where do you want us to have this camera? Just here? Do we put it on a stool or do we carry the whole table? All right. Let me know if this is fine, or do we need to? Is this fine the way it is? Oh, all right. It's all right. After the photo, we need the books. Say, she leads. She leads. Alert them. Some of them need to do stuff for the photo. Zion Pearl Publishers. All right, I'd like also to just let us know that what's remaining now is, of course, the eating of the cake. For the authors, if you're coming in with your, sorry? Or is the cake gluten-free? We'll just find that out. For authors, if you want to take photos with your family members, you can take advantage of the photo booth at the back. But then please do not leave without taking a taste of our cake. It's being It's being served by the beautiful ladies, and then thereafter the tea is ready for us to partake. It's right outside. So sit down, relax for a second. Probably the cake will be reaching you in a short while. Ladies, do you need help? Janet, kindly, we need you here. Rhoda, we need you here shortly. Media, kindly, we are asking you to click on play for that video. Ladies and gentlemen, as you partake of your cake, I humbly request you to take your seat for us. A second will be a lie. For 2 minutes, media, we are waiting on you. We are waiting to see the screen go on. As you utilize your taste glands on that sweet cake, give us an ear shortly. So kindly, for a few minutes, give us time. We want to view one of the contributors who really wanted to be here but wouldn't be here, and therefore her speech has been recorded, and it is only justice that we also give her an ear like we have done for the rest. So without further ado, media, I think now we are ready. You can play. Take ladies. Media. As they work on it, Radido, I think I'll welcome you as they work on that.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to first thank God for giving us this amazing day. One of the things I believe about days is that you should never let a day go before you exhaust it. Some of us go to bed very early and that's not good. make sure you use the day until it's over, because by the time it leaves, it has made you older. So be afraid of days. Be afraid of them. So when they come, you make use of it. And I thank God for giving us the day and the life to be able to experience what we have experienced here today. I also want to thank all the contributing authors, first for allowing us to learn from your experiences and for finding time to come. We know that there are some of them that are not within the country, but they were able to just be part of this and allow all of us to learn from their experiences, and we really are very, very grateful for that. I also want to thank Madam Catherine for finding time to come. Thanks for being very, very supportive. As I said earlier, it has been very easy and enjoyable to work with you. And your presence here, of course, means a lot, not just to us as a team, but to everybody that has listened to you. Including those who have been listening online, because I've been watching some of the comments here and everybody is happy. Thank you so much. That is part of the legacy that you're building. Thank you for all of you, friends and relatives of the authors who came along, and all other people that were invited who honored our invitation. Despite the fact that it looked risky, you came. You came because you believed in this, and you came because you know you're part of something big. We really appreciate you for that. Thank you to my team for helping putting this together. I know it's been a lot of work, but looking at your faces, looks like you're really enjoying doing this. So thank you. There are some that were not able to be here, and some that were with us earlier but are not with the team anymore. But their contribution is still alive. It's being talked about. It's there. It's a legacy. It has been felt. I really want to thank all of them. Thank you also to the media people. Thank you for doing an excellent job, allowing the rest of the world to see what's going on here. Thank you to the photo person for doing your job well. Thank you to all the ushers that have been helping us, and all the staff of the hotel for helping us put this together. Without forgetting the MC. You have been an amazing MC. If they didn't love you, me, I loved you, and I know. I know it. I know it looks good. And I think we were not wrong in bringing you over here. So thank you for doing a good job. That was very excellent. So to all of you who have come and have made this day look beautiful and colorful and memorable, I pray that the Lord God will bless you so very much. As we break to take tea and enjoy the snack out there, and as we eat the cake, make sure the cake is completely eaten and that the tea is completely eaten. All these things were prepared with you in mind. So make sure you take it until you are full and satisfied, and then we shall be free to live at our own pleasure. Thank you so very much. God bless you all. Thank you.
I beg for us to close with a word of prayer so that we acknowledge God, and also as we are about to leave. So let's bow our head in prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening. We want to bless you. We thank you, Jehovah, because we have seen your hand. My Father, the day has been successful. We give you all the glory and we give you all the honor, my Father. Lord Jehovah God, this evening we speak even over the books now, Jehovah, that they have been officially launched. We speak, Lord Jehovah, that it shall change lives, Jehovah. It shall impact the nations in the name of Jesus, my God. We pray even for participants, even as they head in their different destinations, my Lord. May you go ahead of them, Jehovah. May you cover them, Jehovah. May you light their paths, my God, even as they go home, oh God, or wherever they are heading to, Jehovah. When they arrive safely, Jehovah, glory and honor shall be unto you. We acknowledge you as God, and we acknowledge your mighty hand even upon the whole process, my Father. We declare, Jehovah, that this is the beginning of many more volumes, Jehovah, that shall be successful to the glory and honor of your name. In Jesus' name we pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Thank you, and enjoy your tea. Please have tea. This is Nairobi. It is very cold. Helen, you hear me?
Just so that I can give you my book for you to sign. Because this book is for her. It's not even ours.
Thank you. And even as you're doing that for your daughter, she's so discerning. Kindly please have your books autographed by the authors. We have all seen them as they were speaking. So please just reach out to them on their table.